Well, as I'm sure you could hear for yourself, it wasn't impeccable, sadly. 2 Swedes were killed, a third seriously injured. Belgium-Sweden was abandoned. Victor Lindelof, the Swedish captain, shocked and devastated. And certainly in the build-up to this game here at Wembley, there was a noticeable police presence around Wembley from the Met Police, just to try and reassure any supporters of England and Italy who made their way here to Wembley Stadium. It's a vital game in Group C. England require a point to qualify for the Euros. There are already 7 teams who've joined the host Germany, Belgium, France, Portugal, Scotland, Spain, Turkey and Austria. England can be the latest name to add to that for next summer's finals, as our French referee, Clément Turpin, gets us underway, and England predominantly in all white are playing against Italy in the all Azzurri blue. England playing from left to right as we look. There are 8 of this starting 11 for England from that Euro final, and only 3 from Italy. But as James Horncastle was saying ahead of our build-up to this game, Italy are in a period of transition. In fact, 11 changes being made by Gareth Southgate. Andorra 2021 was the first time since Finland in 1982 that 11 changes have been made. Since that, this is the 3rd occasion that Gareth Southgate has made 11 changes. So Pickford is in goal, Kyle Walker, Stones, Maguire and Trippier is the back 4, Bellingham, Phillips and Rice is the midfield, and a front 3 of Foden, Kane the captain and Rashford. 8 changes for Italy from the side that beat Malta on Saturday. Donnarumma is in goal, Di Lorenzo, Scalvini, Acerbi and Udogi. First start for the Tottenham defender after he made his debut for the last 11 minutes against Malta at left-back. Barella, Cristante and Fratesi in the midfield, Berardi, El Shaarawy and Scamacca, the former West Ham United player, up front for Italy, as Foden towards Bellingham manages to skip out of the way from a challenge of Scamacca, passes the ball inside to Declan Rice. It's all about the start, Matt Upson.
It is. It's a cool start from Italy, actually. Acerbi really relaxed under pressure in his own 18-yard box. England really pressing high as the ball came across from Donnarumma, and he just dinked one up the line casually to an Italian player. They tried to flick it round the corner and move on from them, but early signs that Italy aren't just going to crack under a real press from England. They've got more than enough at the back there to be calm and composed and use the ball nicely, even under pressure.
Harry Maguire's name is being chanted by the England supporters here at Wembley. He's a different player for England. He knows he's got the support of the England supporters. He says when his playing days are over, he'll be in the stands alongside them. And he's got the unequivocal backing of his manager, Gareth Southgate. As Rice comes forward, Kane lets it come across his body outside the centre circle. Out now towards Walker. In scintillating form, the evergreen Kyle Walker looks to go on the outside. Delivers the cross from the right-hand side, too deep. Little flick header away by Di Lorenzo. Collected and kept in play by Kieran Trippier. Passes the ball then back to Rice, midway through the Italy half. Stones steps forward into midfield, finds his Manchester City teammate Foden. Now with Calvin Phillips just slowing it down, but England keeping the ball. There's been a goal. Northern Ireland, Slovenia, John Southall.
Worst possible start for Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1. It was a controversial free kick on the left of the D, but brilliantly taken by Cherin into the top right-hand corner. Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1.
Slovenia league leaders of Group H. Denmark playing San Marino tonight, but with that Kazakhstan result in Finland earlier, 2-1, means that nothing can be settled in that group tonight in terms of qualification. There's a chance that Hungary could qualify from Group G, as England are attacking. As Rashford comes in off that left touchline. He was upended after he'd released the ball, but the referee will allow play to continue. And Bellingham twisting and turning and then delivering the cross, and in the end it was Acerbi who heads it away, and the ball will roll out of play, and Bellingham looks to whip up the crowd. He actually does so in front of the Italian supporters, who I think thought that he was trying to antagonise them, which was a little bit unfortunate.
He's got some personality, isn't he, Jude Bellingham? I mean, he pulls out on that left-hand side all the time. What I like about Deno, he makes that run out there and he just drags players out with him. I think they're going to have that nice little partnership there with Rashford, who he knows wants to come inside. He's just clearing that space for him every time he runs out to that left, for Rashford to come inside on his right foot.
Trippier, forward, inside. Bellingham lets it come across his body, forward ball. There was a glancing header there by Harry Kane, just inside the penalty area, and picked up by Donnarumma, all in red away towards our right. He throws the ball out towards Barella. the Euro 2020 winner, of course, as Udogie plays it back. Udogie, who made his debut against Malta, the second Spurs player in the space of 24 hours to make his debut for his country. Mickey van der Ven had done likewise for the Netherlands, as Maguire sees it back towards Jordan Pickford, all in yellow. 5 minutes played, 0-0, Matt.
Yeah, interesting start to the game. England looking like they've got the control of the match, in my opinion, in terms of having the ball. They've got the likes of Bellingham, who can just make something happen. At the moment, Italy just finding their feet a little bit, just getting their bearings, seeing how they can just cope with this England attack.
Ball was hit long towards Rashford. It was cut out by Di Lorenzo. Now in the midfield it's with Cristante. Ball played back out towards Di Lorenzo, laid off by Scamacca. Try and work it out to this near side, but it was cut out, and then Kyle Walker will lift the ball back to Pickford. It's a bouncing ball that he times very, very sweetly. Left-footed, clears it high downfield. Acerbi beats Harry Kane to the ball and heads it forward towards Brian Cristante, and now with Italy and Acerbi looking to try and find El Shaarawy on this near side the left. He runs into trouble in the shape of Declan Rice, and the referee says there's no foul there, as Rice brings the ball away and makes that strong run to Harry Kane, keeps the ball in play. Udogie gets a foot into the challenge, and out it goes for a throw.
That little passage there is just all Declan Rice, isn't it? What he does, snubs out that attack, gets across, makes the tackle, steals the ball, and then all of a sudden he's just driving with the ball at his feet into the corner. And he's got such energy, Declan Rice. When he senses that danger, he reads the game exceptionally well.
If you tally up the amount of caps for the two competing sides here tonight, England's starting 11, 585 caps. That's actually only 5 shy of Gareth Southgate's most experienced ever 11 against North Macedonia. In contrast, Italy's starting 11, 294.
Yeah, I mean, it's a well-experienced group, and you know, you look at that and you think Gareth Southgate knows these players extremely well. I mean, it's a big reason when you get that loyalty from him, he sticks by you, and he's done that with players through thick and thin, and I think he eventually comes through the other side with the performances, and I think we're starting to see that a little bit with Maguire in the consistency that he's playing. But Italy, on the other hand, got players like Scalvini coming in, the young centre-back, 19-year-old.
Yes.
That's a really big call to start him today.
Here is Rashford, direct running by Rashford, enters the penalty area, finds Harry Kane, looks to try and return the ball. It might break towards Rashford, and in the end the flag didn't go up. It was Di Lorenzo who hooked it away. It almost could have been a moment there for England, 7 minutes in.
It's off the left-hand side again, Rashford, looking like he's got the energy in his legs and in his mindset today. It's always important with Marcus Rashford. You kind of tell at the start of the game what mood he's going to be in. He looks to be in the mood tonight.
Corner kick then to England, playing from left to right, 0-0, BBC Radio 5 Live. Far side the left, outswinger, delivered deep, headed back in by John Stones. Maguire was there, Udogie heads it down, looks for the return ball as he breaks from his left-back roll. Stones then, they've actually doubled up there. It'll be Fratesi who will run the ball back, still being tracked by Stones, then runs into trouble by Calvin Phillips, but the French referee, he's going to go for his book here. He's going to show a yellow card to Phillips.
That's one of those tackles that you make when you might not have just played enough football. That one, he had it, he knew he had the ball, but he just mistimed that Calvin. It was a Calvin Phillips special moment. Normally you see him crunch into those, take the ball and the man, take everything. He just, accuracy's not quite there. They're the things where, they're the moments, don't know, where it just shows up. Just those tiny moments where you mistime a tackle, you think, well, normally, 99% of the time, I nail that ball, but just the gauge is out a little bit.
5 appearances for Manchester City this season. Obviously, a couple of those were after the injury, or the suspension rather, to Rodri. But it is an issue for Gareth Southgate, with a number of players over that lack of game time, as we were saying. France-Scotland has been delayed by 10 minutes, allowing extra time for the supporters to get into that friendly fixture. As here, Udogie just pulling back at Foden, and the referee giving himself some thinking time, and it's a yellow card to the Tottenham defender.
I don't know if he needs too much time to think, the referee, on that one, does he? I mean, it was pretty clear. Great anticipation. Phil Foden, it's a cross-field sideways pass in the middle of the pitch, which is always a risky ball. And Foden just read it so early, got the touch on it, and Udogie had little option just to haul him down, but not ideal in the left-back position to have a yellow card so early on.
I honestly thought that DiMarco might have been the left-back. I mean,
it's another big call.
Yeah.
Spalletti's made, but I mean, I think Udogie did have a yellow, if I remember, quite early on in the North London derby, and he certainly played very well for the rest of that game.
Italy now coming forward. It's still goalless. Matt Upson is with us here at Wembley Stadium. 10 minutes played on BBC Radio 5 Live. Udogie plays the ball forward. El Shaarawy and gives it back, and then it's knocked out by Cristante. Acerbi's header was eventually, it will reach Scalvini, but he comes under pressure from Harry Kane. Didn't really get enough on it, did he, Acerbi?
No.
And put the young lad under pressure.
He did, and then he tried to play with the ball. As really sometimes that then is the moment for Scalvini just to put his foot through it.
Here is Phillips, just had his legs chopped by Barella, and that will be a free kick in a very central position, just out 30 yards out from goal for England. And Italy are quick to get those blue shirts back behind the ball, as it's been placed down here with a little bit of purpose by Rashford. I just wonder if there was a bit of intent there, wasn't there? This one's mine.
I think this is teed up for that Marcus Rashford dipper. Then, you know, that one, the kind of like the knuckle shot that he hits, where he just hits it flat, because it's quite a way out, but it's very central, which I think suits Marcus Rashford, just to get the power. If he can get it up and down over the wall and bouncing in front of Donnarumma, it's going to ask a question of the Italian goalkeeper.
You're talking about the one that hits the valve of the ball.
Exactly, yeah. And it just has that flat look to it that moves in the air, and if you can get it to bounce before the keeper or come low into the goal, I think it's a tricky one for keepers to get a hand to.
Well, I'm sure he's seen Ronaldo do it on many a time when he was his teammate for Manchester United, but it is Rashford. Expecting England supporters with a slow hand clap, building up the anticipation here at Wembley. It is Rashford, right-footed, and it was moving in the air, and as it dropped over the crossbar, it just touched the roof of the net as it went out for a goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, he does hit that shot. It's that kind of technique, maybe a little bit more whip on it than what I would have thought. I thought he might have hit it a little bit flatter and straighter, but he just puts a curve on it with his right foot, going to his left corner, and the ball's always dipping, but he just can't get it down quick enough.
Donnarumma knocks the ball out short towards that far side. Di Lorenzo will hit it early, Rice will head it away. Serbia are leading Montenegro by a 0-0. Former Fulham striker Alexander Mitrovic has scored. And Australia, after playing here of course on Friday night and doing ever so well for large parts of that game, they're playing New Zealand at Brentford this evening, and they're leading by a 0-0 in West London. But here at Wembley Stadium, 12 minutes in, it remains 0-0, and that would be sufficient for England to qualify for the Euros in Germany next summer. Of course, we've got the Rugby Union World Cup semi-finals to look forward to. Friday and Saturday, the first semi-final from 7 o'clock, New Zealand against Argentina. And then Saturday, after we've brought you Manchester City, Brighton and Hove Albion, which is a really attractive game at 3, and Chelsea and Arsenal then at 5:30, the second semi-final. All the build-up live on 5 Live, England against South Africa from 8 o'clock. Pickford hits a long ball early, looking for Rashford to make that run. Scalvini clears it away, only as far as Foden. Runs into the penalty area, comes out of the penalty box now, plays the ball back behind him to Phillips, now with Walker on this near side. Bobbles a little bit there for Kyle Walker. Oh, he reacted angrily there to El Shaarawy. Just left a little bit there on the Achilles of Kyle Walker. He didn't like that, did he?
No, it was good pressure, but I think he just stepped across him, and like you say, caught him on the ankle or on the Achilles, and Walker had a little reaction there.
He says he's going to keep on going after twice being persuaded by Gareth Southgate to not go into international retirement. Whilst he's feeling as strong as he is, he says he's going to continue for going a little bit longer, but he says he's not getting any younger.
No, well, watching him a moment ago, I mean, when it came wide to him, he was 1v1. There's no frills, was there? It was, I'm just going to drop a shoulder and rely on my pace to go past Al Jabari. I mean, that's still the mindset. And, by the way, the physical place where Kyle Walker is. And why, when you're as mobile and as quick as what he is, and mentally you're still enjoying it, why would you think any different?
He might not be getting any younger, but he's getting better.
Yeah.
His experience, his reading of the game. And he's still as quick as ever. That hasn't diminished, has it?
No, it hasn't.
Ooh, Donnarumma almost caught out by Harry Kane, the back pass. As he stumbled as he released the ball then out to Barella. England are pressing quite high. Here is Udogie. Malta are leading Ukraine by 1-0. Now that is a surprise elsewhere in Group C, because Malta pointless so far in their opening 6 fixtures. El Shaarawy. Interception, not quite there from an outstretched right foot from Declan Rice. The ball played into the right-hand side of the penalty area. And Italy take the lead. My oh my, cross comes in from the right-hand side. And there it was. And Scamacca following up from close range with his first goal for his country. England 0, Italy 1. The first serious attack from Italy has produced a goal.
That was a superb move as well from the Italians. Started in the left-hand side, and as we've seen him do for Tottenham, Udogie, the way he goes forward, the athleticism this lad has is absolutely superb. He plays a 1-2 deep in the left-back position. He then runs past Bellingham as the ball's laid inside. He's got the power to burst up the pitch. It then gets switched across. Declan Rice doesn't quite get a touch on it then, does he? Just as he's got that outstretched leg, it goes into the right side position. The cross comes in. It's missed by Fratesi, who makes the near post run, taking a defender into that near post, and Scamacca's there, completely unopposed. But how swift was that attack then? It was really quick from back to front.
It was Di Lorenzo with the cross from the right-hand side, and as you say, Fratesi, the fresh air shot from him took the defender with him, and it left Scamacca coming in behind totally unmarked. And on his 13th appearance for his country, the former West Ham United striker, who really didn't have a happy time of it at all in the Premier League. He only scored 3 goals in 16 appearances in the Premier League for West Ham. But on his return to London, Gianluca Scamacca has scored his first goal for Italy, and England, just as they were against Ukraine, are behind.
It had a real flow to that goal, didn't it? Really good play. I mean, if Spalletti's looking at reinventing this team and youth and young players coming into it, that certainly had a taste of that. It was lovely play from Italy.
Well, he said he wants to have them a free brand of football, to be flowing, to play with character. We haven't really seen a great deal of that, because by and large England have controlled the game without necessarily producing anything themselves in that final third. But then Italy, with their first serious attack, get the goal and are leading 1-0, 17 minutes played here on 5 Live.
I mean, there aren't many better than what I've seen than Udogie at going forwards in those situations. He really is a powerful player, great speed, and he's very direct when he runs. When he makes his mind up, he fully commits, and he certainly committed there.
Only the 4th game for Luciano Spalletti since he took charge after the resignation of Roberto Mancini. He signed a 3-year deal. This is his 4th game, but Italy are yet to fall behind since he took charge. Foden trying to roll away from Udogie, who's on a yellow card, couldn't afford to make the challenge, but Cristante was there in the midfield to win it, and then Barella lifts the ball out towards that far side for Berardi, and Italy all of a sudden now have a little bit of a spring in their step as they lead by 1-0, playing from right to left as we look. Barella plays the ball back. Barella in the midfield, ball goes inside. Di Lorenzo was forward. Now it's back with Acerbi running forward, bypasses Udogie, little slip by El Shaarawy. Walker has gone with him. Bellingham goes hunting for the ball now. Acerbi plays it forward. Cristante comes under pressure from Phillips, but Italy keeping the ball well despite the pressure from England, working the ball out towards the far side. Now it goes high towards El Shaarawy. There was Walker, got the header, picked up by the Roma man. Inside now to Fratesi, and he just couldn't get that run. He was just stopped at the right time, and it was Kyle Walker who made that vital block as it's picked up by Pickford.
You can just see the level of confidence has just risen in that Italian team. They're strutting around the pitch a little bit now, technically looking good. Lovely opposite movement, then dropping in to receive the ball. I'm looking at Berardi on the far side, really creating space nicely to receive it at any time, and they look very comfortable and slick with their passing. England have to tune in.
Here is Harry Maguire at the heart of England defence, finds Harry Kane, overran that a little bit. He's given it away to Barella for Italy, just outside the penalty area. Tries to roll the ball in first time, comes back to Barella, now with the back heel. Kane is still there and allows Harry Maguire, as it bounced off the shins of the England captain, to make the clearance. Picked up by Udogie of Tottenham. And there is Cristante just sitting and holding in that defensive midfield role for Italy. 19 minutes played and Italy lead. It's a slender advantage through that goal from Scamacca, 1-0. Acerbi goes back to Donnarumma. Of course, since they won here in July 21 against England in that penalty shootout, they have been back since in the finalissima when they lost 3-0 to Argentina last year. So when Di Lorenzo was talking about fond memories, not necessarily so fond memories since they've been back in that in-between time, but they are now leading here, and they do have a very good record when they're playing against England in England. 1977, the last time that England triumphed, with goals from Trevor Brooking and Kevin Keegan in a World Cup qualifier. And England are behind. Let's see what they can do. 20 minutes played. Stones. Quite a flat atmosphere inside Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's gone very quiet. I mean, understandably, Italy have just had a good 5-10 minute spell where they've really looked a threat.
Here is Rashford, left-hand side. Lays the ball inside to Bellingham. Phillips is ahead of him. Rice now is here. He's midway through the Italy half. Back towards Bellingham. England yet to really make any sort of impression in that final third, as they now trail here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Stones, fouled by Scamacca. That'll be a free kick that he'll leave for Walker maybe to take for England. Not a great deal of movement either as they wait to take the free kick.
Well, England not really moving the ball as quickly as what you'd like. I mean, they're getting their heads up. There's plenty of time on the ball, but you just need that speed of pass. You look at the speed of that Italian attack for the goal. That's what creates the space. That's what caught England unawares. And at the moment, it's just a little bit pedestrian, not moving quick enough through the lines.
Here is Rice, just over the halfway line. Bellingham helps it on towards Rashford. Good footwork by Rashford. Comes under pressure from 3 Italian players. He goes to ground, no foul, says the French referee, as Scalvini tried to clear that ball away. It was blocked. Comes out to Udogie, finds Barella midway through his own half. Forward now to El Shaarawy. Back it goes then to Barella. Tried for that diagonal pass inside to Cristante, and it goes out of play for an Italian throw.
Jude Bellingham just running after that one to push the ball. It's almost like he's trying to lift that midfield, lift the team a little bit, just to get after Italy when they have the ball. Not really turning the screw in terms of the pressure, being able to get after and make life difficult for Italy. Certainly the back four or the midfield. At the moment, we just sat off a little bit, almost like we've been stunned.
El Shaarawy inside, Fratesi pulled back, but his strength kept him going. Now out towards Berardi for Italy. Berardi's forward ball reaches Scamacca, able to turn. Oh, that was a good effort. Got it quickly onto his left foot, and he hit it very, very sharply, and it whistled wide of the left-hand post. Goal kick. Italy still lead by a 1-0.
Very much the type of play that you'd expect from a player of his type. Real target man with his back to play. He receives the ball with his back to play, but he's got this lovely move where he just manages to swivel and create that space to get a shot off with his left foot. Tries to drill it low into the near post bottom corner, but ended up being a good metre wide. But another little warning shot just fired at England there.
Mentioned Hungary could qualify tonight, but they had to win, and they're losing against Lithuania. We're midway through the first half. England are behind. Here's John Murray.
With Rashford into the penalty area on the left-hand side, but carries it out into the full-back position as he's forced out there by Di Lorenzo, who is very much involved in the opening goal for Italy. So Italy leading by 1-0. 5 Live from the BBC Sounds as well. Italy with the ball in the right-back position, and Italian cheers from over in that corner beyond the corner flag, because it deflected off Bellingham and out of play for a goal kick to the visitors, the European champions, the team that won the European Championship in this stadium unforgettably 2 years ago. But they have been back since, Italy, last year for the finalissima, when they were well beaten here by Argentina. But it is Italy who are on top after the confident start from England. The goal Scamacca's goal, his first for his country, has really set England back and has given Italy great confidence. So England 0, Italy 1. Let's see how things are going in the other matches involving the whole nations tonight. Northern Ireland now cannot finish in the top two, but their match is being monitored by John Southall.
It is. Good evening, John. It's Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1. They responded quite well after that early Cherin goal. Northern Ireland, they've dominated possession, one half chance. Jamal Lewis shot into the ground and wide of the left-hand post. Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1.
Scotland are on easy street, having already qualified for Germany next summer. Not so easy tonight, though, possibly. Away against France, and Gavin Wallace, likewise, monitoring the pictures.
Yes, John, good evening. We've just kicked off. There was a 10-minute delay to kick off, as you might have heard earlier on, to allow fans to get into the game safely tonight with the extra security measures. At the moment, Scotland deep in the France half, but it is France nil, Scotland nil, 35 seconds on the clock.
But Matt Upson here at Wembley, all not going to plan for England.
No, it's not going to plan. And I'm just listening to the stadium, and it's gone very quiet, John. It's almost like there's not enough going on the pitch to really drive the support. It's a little bit flat, it's a little bit safe. Just need a little bit of injection of energy into this England play, whether it be a cutting pass, a run with the ball, being aggressive in some manner, just to lift the tempo a little bit for England.
Here's Declan Rice. England all in white tonight, plays it through the middle to Bellingham. Foden slightly behind him, and Foden's touch off to Bellingham, stretched into it, couldn't get there, and it was brought away by Al-Sharawi, and then a free kick goes Italy's way in the centre circle after Frattesi was tripped, and Kieran Trippier with a challenge this time, but the referee, Clement Turpin, the Frenchman, Champions League final referee, said it's a free kick to Italy, no action to be taken against Trippier.
No, I think just because Trippier was almost kind of withdrawing from that challenge, the referees just turned a blind eye to it, but really did stop another counter-attack. Italy had just broken away again in that midfield area, and the space was there to drive into. Trippier just gets his body in the way quite cleverly and makes the foul.
But the shock scoreline tonight is that Malta are winning against Ukraine. So Malta, bottom of this group with no points, winning against Ukraine. And with the scores as they are, it wouldn't be, if I'm right, it wouldn't be confirmed for England tonight, but they would be right on the brink of qualification despite the defeat. But you would expect that Ukraine would come back into that, wouldn't you? Here's Stones in the centre circle, gives it back to Rice. Just sensed a bit of uneasiness in the stands because England didn't go forward, but Rice now does go forward to Trippier on the left-hand side. Trippier waits, here's the cross, left-footed, stretch from Bellingham, but it was over his head, comes out to Walker. He lifts it back into the back post. Italy struggling to deal with this. Di Lorenzo heads it away to Trippier, right-footed cross from him to the back post. Bellingham heads it down, but Donnarumma down to his right. He doesn't have to stretch far, being such a big man, and he was able to clutch the bouncing ball into his gloves.
Yeah, he can't get the power on the header there, Jude Bellingham. It gets dinked to the back post. He's got a standing starting position, so he hasn't got any real momentum coming onto the ball to get the power. And as you mentioned, to be a figure the size of Donnarumma's stature with that kind of header, it's never going to happen. He just almost fell onto the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, the Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper, who I saw beaten 4 times at St James's Park just a couple of weeks ago with the French champions. But apart from Udogie and Vicario, the Tottenham goalkeeper who's on the bench, here's Kane through the middle, it bounces to Bellingham, Bellingham all the way, and was he caught? Yes, he was. It's a penalty. Di Lorenzo dived in on Bellingham. The Italian players don't like this. They're going to referee Turpin. They are saying that Di Lorenzo got the ball and that sent it behind. But the referee, of course, VAR will look at this, but referee Turpin, he's one of the best in Europe. He's seen this as a penalty.
Well, it's very hard to distinguish real time, and I'm not too sure if Di Lorenzo gets a piece of that ball. I don't think he does. I think it was probably going to be a good call from the referee, but it's all about the positive edge of Jude Bellingham. That chance, it was so direct. He plays the forward pass, it ricochets off into his path. He has his first touch out of his feet, and then it's just a race into the 18-yard box. But you know, the England crowd waiting for that positivity, and Jude Bellingham just brought it.
Well, Harry Kane's waiting near the penalty spot, so VAR looking at this. And listen, Di Lorenzo's challenge comes in right at the point that Bellingham gets there. The question is, you know, how much of Bellingham how much of Bellingham did Di Lorenzo actually get? And I think that it comes back to the original point of VAR. Is this a clear and obvious error by the referee to give a penalty?
No, I think that looks a penalty to me. The key point here is I don't think Di Lorenzo touches the ball, having had the privilege of the replay. I mean, the referee was in a great position, very experienced, but I don't think he wins that ball. And if he doesn't win the ball, he's gone to ground and affected the run of Jude Bellingham, who maybe has used him to go over that outstretched leg. But that's part of the game. That's just good attacking play. You draw that tackle, doesn't win the ball, you tow the ball away, and you have that collision. For me, it's a penalty, and I don't think there's enough here to say it's a clear and obvious error.
Well, on the big scoreboards here at Wembley, it says controllo rigore, and the referee is walking away. It looks as though the penalty is confirmed. The video assistant referees, French team of officials tonight, Jérôme Brissard, has obviously decided, I think as we suggested, that there's not enough in that to be considered a clear and obvious error. No. That referee Turpin has awarded the penalty. It's a yellow card for Di Lorenzo, and it's a chance for Harry Kane yet again from the penalty spot to score for England. Now, he did score a penalty in Naples in the opening match in this group on the opening night. That was his 54th goal, took the England record for himself. So yet another penalty for Harry Kane. This is his 25th for England. He's failed to score with 4, most notably in Qatar in the quarter-final in December, but that penalty in Naples put a little bit of that to rest. And now Harry Kane backs away. 3, 4, 5, 6 steps against Donnarumma. England with a penalty against Italy at Wembley again. Kane, little steps, and then high, sending Donnarumma the wrong way. And Harry Kane scores his 60th goal for England. His record just goes on and on. And he also, with that goal, draws level with Bobby Charlton for another record, which is the most goals scored for England here at Wembley Stadium. His 23rd at Wembley, drawing level with Bobby Charlton. But more significantly in this match, it is all square. England won, Italy won.
Well, what a great record to have, John, that. Lovely record to have at Wembley, the amount of goals that he scored. I mean, Donnarumma goes in the direction that I think most goalkeepers would. Harry Kane loves that high, or almost kind of mid to high, hard penalty to his left with his right foot, pulled across the goal, spanked in that corner. He goes the opposite way this time, almost thinking if Donnarumma's with his frame throws himself my favourite way, he's got a chance of getting a hand to it. So he opts for the other corner and just sends him in the wrong direction. It's a clever penalty taken from Harry Kane.
So 9 goals in his last 9 England appearances now. And, the strange thing the other night was to watch England without Harry Kane. Didn't even come off the bench the other evening, but that's why he was being kept by Gareth Southgate. That's why Bellingham was being kept for England, Declan Rice. And in this match, Bellingham wins the penalty and Kane scores.
But also from Kane's perspective, when you're chasing a top scorer goal record, you want to play in those games to get your tally up, don't you? And I think you might see a slightly different outlook now from matches played for Harry Kane.
So we're back to the scoreline that would mean qualification for England tonight. England 1, Italy 1. And Foden goes down on the halfway line. It's a throw-in to Italy. More on Northern Ireland, Slovenia from John Southall.
That's Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1. Slovenia thought they'd got a second. Sesko pounced on a mistake and swept it in, but the referee went to the monitor, disallowed offside. Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1.
Italy coming forward again, shot on the edge of the penalty area from Barella, but that's blocked inside the box now. Udoghi's bringing it forward on his full debut up to the edge of the area. It's turned out towards the left-hand side, and even though Italy are claiming that took a deflection as it was turned out here to this flank, the left flank by Berardi, referee Turpin says nope, it's a throw-in to England. So England 1, Italy 1, just over half an hour played. Also, let's see how things are going between France and Scotland in Lille. Gavin Wallace is watching the pictures.
9.5 minutes gone, John. France 0, Scotland 0. Both teams still trying to feel each other out at the moment. Griezmann with a great ball in, but Kelly came and collected well, and Billy Gilmour just a second or two ago floated a great ball in, but the French goalkeeper was commanding in his area. But 10 minutes on the clock, 0-0.
So England have drawn level here at Wembley Stadium. And I'm like you, Matt, I think that's a very good record. You know, there are lots of records that when you actually think about it these days, you think, really? But I think that's a very good record. The most goals scored by an England player at Wembley Stadium for the national
John,
team.
all I can picture when you said that is Bobby Charlton flicking one in with his head in the old Wembley.
And hair,
hair
going everywhere.
flying everywhere. And just unbelievable moments. And to think that you're a part of that's incredible.
Now Foden through the middle, takes on Udogie.
handball.
Oh, it might have come off his arm. It bounces down, but the referee says no, that's a foul by Foden on Udogie. And I'm not sure there's an awful lot he could do about that. He was very close, Udogie, to Foden, and it bounced away, and referee says that actually Foden fouled him.
Was the foul before the handball then?
Or possibly even a handball by Foden. Yeah. But it is Fratesi bringing it forward. Here's Scamacca, the man who opened the scoring for Italy. And then Di Lorenzo on the overlap into Fratesi at the near post, but Stones and Pickford were diving in there. And there's been a touch from one of the England men which took it wide of the goal by 3 or 4 yards, and it's a corner to Italy.
Well, the ball's getting transferred out to the Italian right-hand side, England's left. And every time they do that, there's space, John. I mean, Berardi is the type of player that wants to come inside on his left foot, but he creates space really nicely. That time Di Lorenzo on the overlap as he's inside the pitch, and John Stones getting across, making a really important block at the near post, but England nearly caught out in identical fashion to the first goal.
Corner then for Italy, comes off the head of Harry Kane, which carried it right across the penalty area and out for a throw to Italy on the left-hand side. What I would describe that as, that last attack, that would be Napoli-style play by Italy, with Luciano Spalletti down there, 64 years old, but you would not know it. He looks in great shape. Throw-in for Italy near the corner flag. I'm hearing there's been an opening goal in the friendly for Scotland in France. Gavin Wallace.
There has indeed, and it's been for Scotland. John, Billy Gilmour, the Brighton midfielder, with a great ball. Camavinga, I don't know what he was doing. He just intercepted the ball inside the 18-yard box, and for some reason played it straight to Gilmour, and all he had to do was open his body and slot it beyond the goalkeeper. France 0, Scotland 1.
Steve Clarke goes from strength to strength. What a tremendous job he has done. Very much looking forward to seeing how he takes Scotland on and into the finals in Germany next summer.
He's a top coach, John.
Absolutely, yeah. And the thing
really
is, Scotland have never got beyond the group stage at a tournament, at a World Cup, European Championship. And, we'll see what the draw brings in December. That is on Saturday, December the 2nd, incidentally. We'll be in Hamburg for that on the sort of Saturday evening. So we'll bring you news of that during what I'm sure will be another busy 5 Live sport, as it will be next weekend with the Rugby Union World Cup quarter-finals, Friday night, Saturday night. You'll hear them live from France on 5 Live, and amongst our Premier League commentaries this weekend, Manchester City Brighton at 3 o'clock on Saturday. That looks like a good game. And also Chelsea Arsenal at 5:30 on Saturday. So don't miss all of that. But 1-1 here, a scoreline that is good enough for England to qualify for this evening. Walker, after Italy took the lead through Scamacca's goal. Here's Harry Kane, England's goal scorer, on the right-hand side. Back to the halfway line it goes. I loved Scamacca's reaction as well when he scored that goal for Italy. Planted it into the roof of Pickford's net. And he turned and he clenched his fists and pointed his fingers. And that was a relieved man not scoring as the centre-forward, the Italian number 9, until his 13th cap. Given away by Declan Rice on the halfway line. Italy come forward. Here's Fratesi, who was looking to just take a touch, and it ran straight past him. And England were able to play it forward towards Rashford, who's off and running. He's up against Di Lorenzo, the Napoli captain. Still Rashford. There are 2 men on him now, and it bounces away from him. And Cristante was able to help out Di Lorenzo, and Italy have got the ball back on the edge of their own penalty area. Matt Upson.
Maybe just a little bit too quick there from Rashford. It's hard to keep up with the technique when you're moving as quick as that. He had a poor first touch, which actually worked in his favour, went into his path. He then built up a real head of speed running at Di Lorenzo on that left-hand side. But then I just feel that it's very, very quick and very direct, and there's not enough kind of calm and quality to his game at the moment.
That was the Rashford of Manchester United this season, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit frantic, John, almost like trying to do too much as opposed to just be calm.
Searching.
Yeah.
Searching for the rhythm, searching for what he had last season. Here's Fratesi again, 25 yards out, but quickly closed down. John Stones was very quickly out, all over him there, so blocked the shot away to the halfway line. And here's Cristante, the middle man in the Italian midfield three. Ball to the edge of the area, cleared away to Phillips, and now played by Rashford for Foden in the centre circle. Foden running free, gives it to the left-hand side of the penalty area to Bellingham. Bellingham drops his shoulder and then runs into Scalvini, who was clattered in the face. I think their heads may have just come together there, and they've both gone down clutching their heads.
Yeah, it was almost like a boxing style clash of heads, wasn't it? Both kind of ducking. I mean, when Bellingham runs in the box, sometimes he doesn't touch the ball, but he just shifts his shoulders and his body weight so deliberately left to right, and he does it quickly. Scalvini was jockeying and just getting low, and as he bent down Bellingham, there was a real coming together of almost faces. Literally each player's face just collided in with each other completely accidentally, and both are laid flat on the grass.
They're both flat on their backs receiving treatment, and on our screen here we've not seen any blood on the face of Bellingham, and it was actually, I think it was sort of face into chin. So Bellingham's face coming up into the chin of Scalvini, who's a tall man, just 19 years old. Very, very big things expected of him. So while we've got a stoppage here, I can tell you there's been a further goal, I believe, in the France-Scotland game. Gavin?
There has indeed, John. It's for France. It's France 1, Scotland 1. Benjamin Pavard, it was a header from a corner. He was the man at the front post, and the power he put in the direction to put it well beyond Kelly at his back post was just sublime. So it's France 1, Scotland 1.
OK, we'll hear from our Kelly at half-time, who's here with us in the commentary box at Wembley. Bellingham's on his feet, Scalvini is on his feet, but still receiving treatment. And Ukraine have finally equalised, so relief for Sergei Rebrov. Malta 1, Ukraine 1, after Malta led for most of the first half. It is Serbia 1, Montenegro 1. Equaliser Stefan Jovetic has scored for Montenegro. And Lithuania are winning 2-0 against Hungary. So, as Ian mentioned earlier, Hungary did have the chance to clinch qualification this evening, but they had to win, and they're losing 2-0 in Lithuania. Bellingham is running off the field, so I'm assuming he's OK to come back on. And as for Scalvini, where's he? He's coming off as well with Bellingham. And Denmark are winning 1-0 away to San Marino, and Manchester United's Rasmus Højlund has scored that goal for Denmark, who similarly could have qualified tonight, but because Finland have been beaten by Kazakhstan, which puts them in real danger of being able to get into the top two, Finland, Denmark will have to do it next month, you would assume. So Bellingham and Scalvini OK, Matt?
Yeah, their come round, had full checks, plenty of medical teams on the pitch, just checking both players out for obviously concussion, what have you, but it wasn't so much the force of it, it was just the area in which, like you say, kind of head into jaw, but both players OK and are continuing.
And it's Italy coming forward. Udogi on the left-hand side, but Walker steps forward, prevents the ball from reaching Barella, who has fouled Walker, and it's a free kick to England in the right-back position. So we've got 2.5 minutes or thereabouts of the 90 to go, then added time. It's a sellout tonight at Wembley again. I suspect the crowd will maybe be slightly bigger than it was against Australia on Friday night, but it's been nothing like as loud, even though that was the friendly. This is the competitive match, because the Australian fans, there were nearly 5,000 of them here, and I think that helped the atmosphere, a bit of England-Australia rivalry. And the Italian fans in their section, with all of their green, white and red tricolours, were brilliant during the anthem, as they always are, but the atmosphere's been subdued. Here's Kane for England, gives it now to the edge of the penalty area to Rashford, shoots left-footed, and Donnarumma goes down and makes the save. That was better from Rashford, went direct, hit it from an angle, and Donnarumma, dropping down to his left, was able to push it away and round the near post for a corner.
A great play from Harry Kane as well. Reads the flight of the ball, Acerbi gets sucked under it, Harry Kane just drops off and just plucks the ball out of the air with his chest right into his path, then pops it out to Rashford, who shifts it onto his left foot and gets a good low drive into the middle of the goal, but did force a a reaction save out of Donnarumma.
England corner then into the near post. A little flick from Bellingham, but that took it high up and over the crossbar by a distance. And it is a goal kick to Italy. So England 1, Italy 1. This is 5 live from Wembley on a dry October night. Been a chill in the air. There was frost in the Wembley area yesterday morning, I can tell you. But dry after a very quiet, sunny day today. And do you feel, Matt, that Italy will kick up a fuss about the awarding of that penalty, or do you think they'll...
No, I wouldn't have thought so, John. I mean, it didn't look like Di Lorenzo won the ball. So for me, if he doesn't win the ball, and that was scrutinised for a fair bit of time, wasn't it? They weren't quick, the VAR, were they, in terms of not sending the referee to make a decision. They really did have a good look at that and must have felt the same, that there was no contact with the ball. And you go to ground in the box and you slide into the path of a player running at that kind of speed and they go over, you know, chances are that you're going to expect to have a penalty given against you.
And Ukraine are now in front in Malta. Artem Dovbyk has scored from the penalty spot. So Malta 1, Ukraine 2. Coming into tonight, England top of the group, 13 points. Italy with 10, Ukraine with 10, North Macedonia with 7. And 3 minutes of time added on at the end of the first half. And if you have looked at the table and thought, why is it that a draw could be good enough for England tonight? That's because England and Italy and Ukraine have still to play one another on the last night of matches in this group next month. So one or the other or both will drop points in that match. It is Italy in possession with Scalvini. And then Cristante plays it forward, middle of the half. Back from Barella to the halfway line. Here's Acerbi. Italy going with this experienced 35-year-old and the inexperienced 19-year-old Acerbi and Scalvini as their 2 central defenders.
I'm just looking at the body language of Spalletti in the last 5 minutes or so. He's really been animated. He's not happy with a couple of things. I mean, there's a technical area there, but he has spent no time inside of it. I mean, he is all over the place, just like really gesturing to the players, not happy with a couple of things. Be interesting to see what kind of team talk he's going to have at half-time.
Yeah, so well into his 60s, shaven-headed, but heavily tanned. And
sounds like someone else I know.
Well, who might that be? Here it is with Italy on the left-hand side, with Barella then back towards the halfway line. But of course the man who won the title with Napoli last season, and he was going to take a year's sabbatical, which sounds like a great idea to me. There's Italy playing it through the middle to Scamacca, comes back centrally, Cristante. Foden can't reach that. Here's Udogi against Foden, and the Tottenham left back in field towards the edge of the penalty area. Udogi gets it back, lovely, shoots low, saved by Pickford, still inside the penalty area. Di Lorenzo's after that, but then scoops his shot over the top via a deflection, and it's a corner. Brilliant from Destiny Udogi.
Well, we've touched on him a couple of times in this first half, and that was another brilliant example of why he's in this team. Maybe if there were raised eyebrows about him starting this game before the match, I don't think there will be after it. What he brings to Italy from an attacking point of view is pretty special. We see it for Tottenham, but he has the ability just to drive past players. He's got such athleticism.
Here's the corner for Italy, flicked on, but over the top of the crossbar. Acerbi, I think it was, who got his head to that. It was, and it's over the top and behind for a goal kick. So England 1, Italy 1 in added time here. Only a few seconds left. It is half-time in the Northern Ireland-Slovenia game. John Southall.
Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1. That goal from Cherin after just 5 minutes. Free kick off the right-hand post from a controversial free kick. They've also had a goal disallowed. Brzesko, Slovenia. Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1.
So Udogi with that latest chance for Italy, and a good save by Pickford. Got down well to his left.
Yeah, it caused chaos, didn't it?
But
coming into the box from the left, John. You know, the little 1-2s he plays are really, really hard to deal with.
But the Udogi footwork was brilliant as the half-time whistle goes. As I said a couple of times this season, Destiny Udogi sounds like someone out of Star Trek to me. And when you said raising an eyebrow, I could imagine Mr. Spock just raising an eyebrow at that one. But it is 1-1. England were up against it for a little while there, but the penalty decision went England's way, and Harry Kane made it 1-1. Matt?
It's toed and froed a little bit, hasn't it? England starting pretty solid, and then obviously the goal, which was a real sucker punch, but a lovely flowing passage of play, real quick piece of play from Italy with the finish from Scamacca, and then England did well to kind of regain their feet. The stadium went a little bit quiet. The atmosphere went. England really had to drive it, and it was Jude Bellingham with a real positive pass and run, as you'd expect from him, just to win that penalty and get England back level. But it's a very level game, actually.
Yep, that's Matt Upson. We'll hear from Rob Green very shortly as well, who's watching from afar for us. But at half-time, it is a result that would qualify England tonight. England 1, Italy 1.
Thank you, John. John Murray and Ian Dennis, your commentators here at Wembley this evening. As he said, we'll be hearing from Matt and from Rob very shortly, but we're going to head back to find out what's happening in that match between France and Scotland. There's been another goal. Gavin Wallace.
There has indeed, Kelly. France 2, Scotland 1, and it's Pavard again, his second of the night, a diving header from close range. The ball in, it was really nicely played from Mbappe as he turned Hendry to then put it into the box, and the defender was there again to nod home from just a couple of yards. 25 on the clock, France 2, Scotland 1.
So this game, a friendly for Scotland and France this evening. England, though, desperate to qualify for Euro 2024. A point would do it. That's what they have as things stand at Wembley this evening. They're drawing 1-1 against Italy. Matt, there's been a bit of criticism on social media for this performance from England. It is certainly one of the sort of calmer, more controlled England performances that we're used to seeing, really. I'm not quite sure why people expect fireworks from England.
Do you mean flat, Kelly?
It's been a little flat, hasn't it? Well, it certainly felt flat in terms of the atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree with that. And why that is hard to put your finger on it. I mean, it's two top teams going at it. England, are probably looking at the game thinking, well, we've got a structure about how we're going to play. It isn't the most high-intense performance that you've seen from England. They haven't been maybe as positive as what everyone would like, which is why this criticism might be coming across. But they're playing against a team that's a little bit unknown. And I think that they were cagey to begin with. Italy have shown that they're capable of playing that quick football where the goal came from was brilliant. And it's just knocked England on the back foot a little bit, and they have to be wary of that. So, it's a bit of a cagey game. Tactically, it's quite interesting. So, yeah, it isn't a spectacle in terms of loads of big, exciting goal-mouth action, but it's certainly an interesting game to watch.
Second 45 minutes coming up for you here on 5 Live Sport. We'll also be chatting to Dave Woods about Sean Wayne's England selection, and we'll hear from a new Rangers manager, Philippe Clement, who's given his first press conference today. Before that, we've got the news on 5 Live with Lisa McCormick.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live. More than 300 people have been killed in an airstrike in a hospital in Gaza City, according to officials there. Our correspondent Tom Bateman is in Jerusalem. I spoke to him a short time ago.
Well, what we've seen are really horrific images of maimed and bloodied casualties being stretchered out of this hospital in Gaza City. Now, our understanding was that there were around 1,000 people sheltering in a courtyard of the hospital. It's actually an Anglican church funded and run hospital in Gaza there. Now, there was clearly a very, an extremely big explosion. The Palestinian civil defense in Gaza City said that was a result of an Israeli airstrike. They're saying at the moment that at least 300 people killed, but there are varying casualty figures around that at the moment. But there is a scene of absolute devastation there. The street outside is carnage. I mean, there are cars completely burned out, other bodies in the streets, and civil defence there saying that they're having to pull more bodies and the wounded from the rubble there. So an extremely significant event. The Palestinian civil defence there saying that this was the result of an Israeli airstrike. The Israeli military at the moment saying that a hospital is a highly sensitive building and not an IDF target, and they say they are investigating the source of the explosion.
Tom, obviously this is very much a moving story, but has there been any response to what's happened?
Well, there's already been condemnation from other countries in the region. For example, Jordan and Turkey have already condemned this event. It comes, of course, on the eve of President Biden's visit to Israel, coming into the middle of this crisis and escalating conflict. So I think there will be now a very quick sort of search for answers because, as you often get in these situations, you now have sort of disputed set of circumstances already. And I think, it's absolutely going to ramp up the possibility for further and very quick escalation in this conflict, which we've seen move very, very quickly, and especially in Gaza over the last few days, this surging civilian death toll.
Tom Bateman in Jerusalem there. Meanwhile, international pressure is growing on Israel to allow humanitarian assistance into Gaza. Civilians trapped inside the territory have been speaking of terrible conditions with water, food and fuel at dangerously low levels. We'll keep you up to date, of course, here on 5 Live Sport, and you can follow developments on the BBC News app and website. In other news, Hamza Yousaf has given his first conference speech as leader of the SNP. The Scottish First Minister announced plans to freeze council tax and cut NHS waiting lists. And Greta Thunberg's been arrested at a protest in central London. 21 arrests were made at the demonstration outside a hotel hosting bosses from the oil and gas industry.
I'm Mark Chapman, and this is Everton. Nothing will be the same. This is the story of what happened over one of the most difficult and controversial seasons in the club's history.
If we go down, I don't think we'll even exist in 5 years' time.
We've been inside the club, talking to players, coaches and managers.
I had 9.5 years in my previous club. I've probably got one book in me. In 4 months here, I've probably got 3.
Everton, nothing will be the same. Listen now on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
We are live from Wembley this evening for England against Italy in their Euro 2024 qualifier. It's England 1, Italy 1 at half-time. Gianluca Scamacca's opener for Italy. Harry Kane with the equaliser from the penalty spot. The second half coming up very shortly. Elsewhere, Northern Ireland trail Slovenia by 1-0 at half-time, but Northern Ireland know they cannot finish in the top 2 in their group. Also, a friendly taking place this evening between France and Scotland. The planned 8 o'clock kickoff delayed by 10 minutes to allow fans to get into the game. So a 8:10 kickoff means it's just over half an hour gone in that one. Let's catch up on what's been happening with Gavin Wallace.
Yeah, very much still France. They're really starting to assert their dominance on this, Kelly. France 2, Scotland 1. It's a Benjamin Pavard double with his head, I might add. One coming from a corner, one coming from a lovely ball in from Kylian Mbappe. You just can't defend against. He's such a Rolls Royce of a player. And Camavinga with I don't know what he was even thinking for the Billy Gilmour goal on 11. Gilmour played the ball into the box, and the defender decided to play it straight back to him. So that's how things are at the moment, but France very much on top. 2-1 to the French.
Gavin, thank you very much. Gavin Wallace is going to keep us up to date with everything that happens in that game, and of course we'll let you know what's happening as well in Northern Ireland's game against Slovenia. The new Rangers boss, Philippe Clement, says he wants to create more winners in the dressing room at Ibrox. The former Club Brugge and Monaco boss has been outlining his vision for the club.
My short-term and long-term objectives are always to win. I'm about that. That's my life. It's always been my life. So that's what I want. But I know also there's a process to come to that point, and we need to work on that. There are a lot of things we can make better, and it's going to be a process week by week to make things better. We need now to create a really stable story together, that everything is really clear for them, and that we can play really good football with good results.
New Rangers boss Philippe Clement. Sean Wayne has named England's World Cup captain George Williams in his 24-man squad for their test series against Tonga, despite the Warrington halfback being suspended for 2 of the 3 matches. Let's bring in our rugby league correspondent Dave Woods. Dave, so he's appealing his suspension for a second time. If that's slightly unsuccessful, could he play no part at all in this series?
Well, Kelly, the news that's been breaking in the last hour or so is that appeal has failed. So his 2-match ban remains. The suggestion from the England camp at the weekend was that if that was going to be the case, that he would no longer be in the squad and somebody else might be called up. But that might have changed a little bit, because 1 or 2 injury pullouts in the last 24 hours before the 24-man squad was named. So it might not be a surprise now if Williams is actually retained. There's only 2 halfbacks, not named halfbacks, in that squad aside from Williams. So it might be that he is kept on for his off-field influence, but also if there are injuries, he would be available for the 3rd test.
But there are other issues as well. Lead centre Harry Newman in the squad as well. He's been criticised by Wayne before for his on-field attitude, but does he believe that that's changed, or is it something that he's prepared to live with?
Yeah, well, he said at the press conference today, Sean Wayne said he has spoken. He's had several conversations with Harry Newman, and he is convinced that he'll put that petulance behind him. He's been criticised for arguing with his teammates, for over discussing issues with referees, and it has brought him into a bit of disrepute. And Sean Wayne had said in the past, a month ago, he doesn't play under those circumstances, but he said he is reassured by the conversations that he's had with him in the past couple of weeks that he will fit the bill in this England squad.
And Dave, this is the first time England have faced Tonga in a three-game series, so a sign of how they're developing as a rugby league nation.
Yeah, it's a real history-making test series. You know, to the non-rugby league fan, you'd think, oh, England-Tonga, that's an easy three-match win for England. Not the case, because Tonga now can draw on some of the best players in the world. 2017, they made their breakthrough in the World Cup. They got through to the semi-finals. England only just beat them in one of the most extraordinary games at Auckland in New Zealand. They beat New Zealand in that tournament. They've beaten Australia since. They've beaten Great Britain since. So this is a squad that we have to take very seriously. This is genuinely going to be a very, very tough three-match series for England.
Dave, thank you very much for that. Dave Wood saying it's going to be a very tough series for England, and all three tests will be shown live on BBC One, starting with the first test this Sunday at 2:30. Netherlands have pulled off a surprise result at the Cricket World Cup. They've beaten South Africa by 38 runs. It's only the third time they've won a 50-over World Cup match, their first since 2007. And MK Dons have appointed former Newcastle defender Mike Williamson as their new boss. He takes over after 4 years at National League Gateshead. Our commentary match this evening comes to you live from Wembley, where England are facing Italy. It's currently all square at half-time. Italy went in front through Gianluca Scamacca, and then Harry Kane with the equaliser from the penalty spot after Di Lorenzo brought down Jude Bellingham in the area. Former England goalkeeper Rob Green has been watching events unfold across the first half. What have you made of England in that first 45 minutes, Rob?
Well, I thought this was international football, wasn't it? It was tactical. It might have been a little bit cagey. Both teams had threats, and Italy, they're good on the ball. The goal that they scored went from the goalkeeper the length of the field. England committed 6 players into that press and didn't quite get it right. And from there, they got punished. So there's the threat. There's the caginess. They know that they can be hurt. So it really is a tantalising, possibly more tantalising when Italy have the ball, because they're luring England in, saying, come on, right, OK, press us, we can get out. So I found it really interesting. England, you're looking at the threats that they've got. A lot of it's down this left-hand side, but everybody's right-footed. Everybody apart from Jordan Pickford is right-footed, and so everything comes inside. So there might be something there. Jared Bowen's left-footed, maybe something that they might look to change, but so much is coming down this left-hand side, so much is coming through Jude Bellingham, and it was kind of inevitable that it came from him that the penalty was scored.
Yeah, and Jude Bellingham is the player that's trying to get the crowd going here at Wembley, where the atmosphere has been a little flat, probably, as you say, down to the fact that it has been quite a cagey game. But there are signs from Italy that they're starting to look a bit more like a Spalletti side. There are some really exciting moments from them.
Yeah, they're encouraged to go forwards in numbers when they get it right. The full-backs go on, and it's been interesting. The overlapping runs from Di Lorenzo's proved a threat. So, shades of Napoli, of their successes that they've had. So, Italy, you think they're going to qualify for the Euros. By the time that he's got his mould, by the time he's got his shape on the team, they're going to be a threat for that as well, because they've got really good footballers in there, and they're just about finding their way through the 90 minutes here tonight as well.
Rob Green, for now, thank you very much. But Rob will be back with us from full-time right through till 10:30 here on 5 Live Sport. We've got second half commentary coming up for you very shortly from Wembley. Let's check in, though, on Northern Ireland's game against Slovenia and John Southall.
Yep, we're underway in the second half. Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1. Northern Ireland have edged possession over the piece so far, but yet to have a shot on target. Just a bit more creativity they needed this second half, which is a familiar theme in this campaign. Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1.
And following Scotland's friendly against France, Gavin Wallace.
Yeah, just 39 minutes on the clock. France 2, Scotland 1. We've just had a VAR check, Kelly. Olivier Giroud was pulled down and bought, as was Kylian Mbappe, but they didn't look at that one. They looked at the one in Giroud. I think it might have been either Hendry or McKenna that pulled him down. Maybe even Cooper, actually, to be fair. He's having a word with the referee right now. Mbappe's about to put it on the spot, and you would surmise that he's going to make it France 3, Scotland 1 in just a second or two.
Gavin, thank you very much. If that does happen, then Gavin, of course, will bring us right up to date with it, as will our commentary team here at Wembley for the second half of England against Italy. Matthew Upson, John Murray, and first of all, Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Kelly. Neither side has made a change, so England line up with Pickford in goal, a back four of Walker, Stones, Maguire and Trippier. At left back, a midfield three of Bellingham, Phillips and Rice. Foden, Kane and Rashford are the front three. England are in all white. They'll be playing from right to left in this second half. 1-1 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Italy in the all Azzurri blue with Donnarumma in goal, a back four of Di Lorenzo. He was booked in the first half for that penalty. It means he'll be suspended for the North Macedonia match as a result. Scalvini and Acerbi as the two central defenders, and Udogie of Tottenham Hotspur as the second half restarts. Their midfield three, Barella, Cristante and Fratesi, with Berardi, Scamacca the goal scorer, and El Shaarawy. So Italy with Di Lorenzo coming forward already on this right-hand side, finds Barella as the ball goes infield. Mbappe scored that penalty, incidentally. 3-1 now, they lead Scotland in that friendly, as the French referee, Clément Turpin, is quick to intercept any altercation between Fratesi and Bellingham, as England get a free kick. I can tell you a little story. When a couple of days ago Harry Kane was made aware of that fact that John was talking about, he's now level with Sir Bobby Charlton, scoring 23 goals, the most by an England player at Wembley. And he said, do you know that you're one goal away? And Harry Kane replied, what if I scored two?
Well, that's a goal scorer's response, isn't it?
It is.
Very much. That's the reason why he's breaking records like that. That kind of mentality that he has, Deno, is frightening. So he didn't know about that record?
No. He's now been involved as well in at least one goal in the last 15 consecutive Euro qualifiers. So Estonia in October 2015 was the last time that he didn't either score or make an assist. I mean, his record is just astonishing. What is it, 32 goals now in his last 30 internationals for Harry Kane. As Pickford goes long, little touch there off the head of Rashford on the halfway line. And there is Scalvini to Di Lorenzo, who gave away that penalty against Jude Bellingham. And they must be sick of the sight of Bellingham, bearing in mind Bellingham scored for Real Madrid against Napoli earlier in the season in the Champions League. But early in the second half here on 5 Live, it's 1-1. Ball goes long up towards Scamacca, and he barges into the back of Stones, who just gets a little a blow there from the Italian player, and it'll be a free kick.
Yeah, just gets a bit of a forearm across the back of his head as Stones goes forward to head the ball. He's back up on his feet now, but he certainly felt the force of that. It was quite
as if that was Berardi.
Yeah, Berardi was quite intent with the forearm as well. I mean, he didn't lash out at him, but he certainly used his forearm just to try and lever him out of the way.
Stones hardly played a great deal of football. 22 minutes at Arsenal before the international break was his first appearance for the treble winners since he was actually here for the Community Shield, as Maguire plays the ball forward. Trippier at left back, the bald-headed coach Luciano Spalletti in his suit, patrolling that technical area as Barella tries to pull back Harry Kane. He shrugs him off and he finds Foden, and Foden goes down inside the penalty area. England are appealing for a penalty, but the French referee Clément Turpin shrugs away those appeals and play continues.
That was an interesting coming together. Phil Foden and Acerbi. He doesn't kind of overcommit Acerbi, which I think just keeps him within that side of it not being a penalty. But brilliant play from Harry Kane to shrug off the challenge in the middle of the park, and he fed a lovely ball into Foden's feet.
Jerome Brissard is the VAR official who would be having a look at it as play continues at 1-1 here on 5 Live. This is Fratesi, who's been in good form for Italy of late. 4 goals in his last 3 internationals. As Fratesi gives the ball back to Acerbi. Every outfield player is now in the England half as Italy play from left to right, and Berardi lays it off. Scalvini out to Di Lorenzo, just pops up a little bit for the Napoli defender, plays the ball back inside, then it's hit long and early by Cristante, and it bounces and rears up, and it's caught there by Jordan Pickford. And Pickford holds onto the ball, all in yellow away towards our right-hand side, as a number of supporters here in this sellout crowd at Wembley are still getting back to their seats after the half-time interval. As Maguire, forward ball, Bellingham running back, Cristante has gone with him, finds Maguire once more. Here is Declan Rice. Bellingham now on the edge of his own penalty area, plays it out towards Stones. Walker is pushed up on that far side, the right, as Stones, midway through the England half, gets it back from his Manchester City teammate. Declan Rice makes himself available. He was always glancing over his left shoulder, looking for Fratesi, but he managed to get a few yards away from him as England keep the ball. And just as they did for large periods in that first half, keep the control of a game against quality opposition that I think Gareth Southgate will be pleased with.
Yeah, I think he'll be pleased with that element of it, for sure. I mean, they've been pretty composed in possession. I think when Maguire and Stones have the ball, they could be a little bit more progressive with their passing, a little bit more decisive. But in terms of, keeping possession and being safe and being steady, England have done that well in this game and maybe frustrated Italy a little bit in that sense.
Scalvini had just stepped out of defence and Phil Foden had made a run in off the right-hand side to run in behind, and he only had Udogie with him, but Maguire hadn't seen that little bit of movement from Phil Foden, and England played it safe at the back for that time as Harry Kane drops deep, and now he looks for a raking ball, which Di Lorenzo takes it on the chest, running back into his own penalty area. Kieran Trippier will run forward here. Does he give a free kick? No, the referee says not, and England now have won the ball back. And here is Calvin Phillips, right-footed just outside the D, hit it first time right-footed over the crossbar, 1-1 goal kick.
Yeah, I love the weight of the setback from Phil Foden. He shows for the ball with his back to goal on the edge of the box. He sees Calvin Phillips arriving, and he just sets it lovely onto his right foot. Go on, have a go at that. And he just hits it straight. He doesn't hit a corner, and it's about a foot over the crossbar, but he just tries to pick a corner out there, Calvin Phillips. He had enough time just to hit one of the corners, either drag it across the goal or just bend it outside that far post with his right foot.
Not known for his goal-scoring prowess. He scored from close range against North Macedonia at Old Trafford. That was a bit of curl on it, though, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
Phillips?
Back to the point you're making about Maguire and Stones, and Maguire not seeing that pass. That's the point you get, though, Deno, when you're flying at full pace. You're on autopilot. It's kind of like you're seeing those balls, whereas at the moment, from where Stones and Maguire are coming from in terms of performing and playing, you're just worrying about those basics first. And they've done that well, England.
Foden there just tried to wriggle away from Udogie. There was a coming together. I don't think there was any intent from Udogie. Of course, he is on a yellow card, but not every foul has to result in a yellow. So it's just a little talking to from the French referee for the Tottenham defender. But it is a free kick as Phil Foden desperately tried to stay on his feet. But a stumbling Udogie brought him down, and England have a free kick inside the centre circle. Matt Upson is with us, former England international. Rob Green will be joining us at full time as well. They'll be... We're on air till 10:30 before Colin Murray takes over on BBC Radio 5 Live. We'll try and bring you as much live reaction as we can from Wembley Stadium. Anything that we don't before 10:30 you'll be able to hear on the 5 Live Football Daily podcast. There's another free kick. This time it's Bellingham who's brought to ground. And England, midway through the Italian half, have a free kick just a little bit towards the right-hand side.
And he has looked a threat in this game. I mean, he caused the penalty. But when he picks up that ball in that number 10 position, he just slightly gets the wrong side of the Italian midfield three, and there's nobody better at receiving the ball on the back foot. He knows exactly where the space is, and his first touch is to try and exploit that. Does it really well, Jude Bellingham, and he's won England a free kick here.
So Italy have everybody back in and around the penalty area. Foden and Trippier stand over the free kick midway through the Italy half. BBC Radio 5 Live, 8 minutes into this second period, still 1-1. It'll be Trippier. Curls it in over the head of Harry Kane. Headed out. Declan Rice will let it go out for an England throw on this near side the left, level with the penalty area. He goes back to Kyle Walker, who retreats towards the halfway line and then finds Kieran Trippier. And Trippier, just outside the centre circle, goes to John Stones. And then Trippier tells Walker to go all the way back to Jordan Pickford, and we'll check in on the half-time score of France-Scotland with Gavin Wallace.
France 3, Scotland 1. Billy Gilmour puts Scotland in front on 11 after a French defensive nightmare, but to be honest, on the world's second best team have flexed their muscles since that. Benjamin Pavard with 2 headers and Kylian Mbappe penalty have the French on easy street. France 3, Scotland 1 at half-time.
And in fact, Colin Murray will actually take over at 10 o'clock, not 10:30, because of the developing story in Gaza, where hundreds are feared dead in a Gaza hospital as Israel denies the strike. So that developing story will be covered in full with Colin Murray at 10 o'clock. As here we are at Wembley Stadium, as the ball goes back to Donnarumma, all in red away towards our left-hand side. They try and beat the England press, but England win the ball back. And then Di Lorenzo manages to get it away. It will run through, though, towards Declan Rice. He's midway through the Italy half. There was no width on that side. England were a little bit narrow. There was no natural width on the right there, as Phillips plays the ball forward to the England captain, Harry Kane, who's dispossessed by Barella, who brings it away now for Italy, and then Scamacca lays it back to Acerbi.
I mean, it's a different requirement, isn't it, for Phil Foden on that right-hand side. I mean, if he plays wide, he tends to play a lot on the left. I mean, he's got the capabilities to play anywhere across that front 3 or 4 positions. But England pressed really well into that left-hand corner, and when we won the ball, there wasn't enough option for Declan Rice. He stepped on the ball in the middle of the park, and there wasn't really a pass on for him.
Cristante, curling effort coming in from Berardi off his left foot. It was a good way out. Must have been at least 25 yards out from goal. 1-1.
Yeah, not enough momentum into that shot from Berardi. He loves to come off the right-hand side with his left foot. That's kind of his signature mark, but he just had the ball underneath his feet a little bit there, just couldn't dig it out to get any power on the strike.
Of course, the longer the game goes on at this scoreline, say for instance 15 minutes from the end, England then will maybe then start to think, right, we've got the point that we need to qualify for the Euros, because that is their first objective.
Possibly. I mean, of course it's an objective, it's the whole point of the qualifying campaign, but I just feel this game's a little bit different, and you know, the result will be the outcome of their mindset.
Barella, Bellingham in the sliding challenge. Scamacca tries to win it back. Foden then with the forward ball to Bellingham. That's a lovely first touch, and he's taken Scalvini out of the game. And now Bellingham finds Rashford, and England on the counter-attack with Rashford just outside the penalty area. He enters the box, and Rashford buries it, right-footed into the bottom right-hand corner. That was a superb counter-attack, and of course Jude Bellingham had to be involved, as England have come from behind and they're bound for Germany, leading 2-1.
Well, that certainly got the crowd off their seat. The whole of Wembley, bar the Italian section, is up and applauding that brilliant piece of power play from England. Really good stuff. Not really measured, you know, more about scrapping and winning the ball, but once they do, Phil Foden flicks a lovely ball into Jude Bellingham, who with that long lopey stride just toes it past the Italian defender into the middle of the park, lends it wide to Marcus Rashford. And then we've seen him in this game 2 or 3 times come in menacingly, certainly in the first half. This time he finds the space because Italy is so stretched. The doggy tries to put the brakes on, but there's a good metre of space, and then he hits it with that lovely flat style. Donnarumma is standing quite upright, and because he's so low, it just whistles past his feet into the back of the net. Brilliant play from England, real surge of positivity from the whole team.
Pace and penetration aplenty from England, and they now lead by 2-1. A sending off in the Northern Ireland-Slovenia game. John Southall.
Northern Ireland down to 10 men. They trail Slovenia by 1-0. Shea Charles with a second yellow card. Robust challenge on Spora, and off he goes. Second yellow. Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1.
Thank you, John. Kristantis just pulled a shot wide from distance, right-footed, well off target. San Marino have equalised at home to Denmark in Northern Ireland's group. San Marino 1, Denmark 1, but Wembley still buzzing. And every time Bellingham gets the ball, I mean, what a talent.
I mean, it was a lovely little flicked pass from Phil Foden, though, I will say. So it's Foden into Bellingham, into Rashford. And it was just great kind of athleticism, really. Don't know, I mean, how else can you describe the fact that he wins that ball? He then manages to stay on his feet after getting the contact to go past the Italian player. You think he might stumble over, he doesn't, and then once he gets going, he's a Rolls Royce, isn't he? I mean, he's such an attacking midfield player.
And Marcus Rashford with his 17th goal for his country, and England lead by 2-1. And all of a sudden, Italy now find themselves under real pressure in Group C. The European champions, they failed to qualify for the last 2 World Cups, remember. And with Ukraine leading in Malta, they could have it all to do. North Macedonia at home next month before they actually meet Ukraine in Leverkusen in Germany a few days later. But England are leading by 2-1, looking to maintain this excellent record that they've got in European qualifiers at home. They're looking for a 13th straight win, and what is an aggregate score that currently stands at 49 goals for and only 5 against, as Cristante and Bellingham getting a little bit of a talking to from the referee, Malbs.
Yeah, made a little bit too much of that, Jude Bellingham. Little coming together with Cristante, but I feel like Jude Bellingham just overplayed that situation. He's not happy with something the Italian midfielder is saying to him. They're having a little bit of a spat, but don't like to see too much being made of nothing.
So the first time that Italy have been behind under their new coach Luciano Spalletti, and they've slipped to third currently in the live group table in Group C. 3 points behind Ukraine. Ukraine only have that 1 game left in Leverkusen, as we just mentioned. So Italy certainly will be looking to try and salvage something from this, as Udogi, with an hour played on BBC Radio 5 Live. El Shaarawy, Cristante plays it back out to Udogi, the left back. Foden. El Shaarawy, here is Scamacca looking to turn side onto goal. El Shaarawy, scuffed effort, cleared away by Rice, played back into the penalty area. And Scamacca got it out from underneath his feet quite early, hit it right-footed on the rise, but around head height, comfortable save for Pickford, 2 on England.
England didn't quite deal with that attack. Not enough quality clearances, had a couple of opportunities just to deal with the ball. It ricocheted around the box, and fortunately for England, Scamacca couldn't hit the corner and buried this with his right foot straight at Jordan Pickford, who had a nice steady set of hands just to pat it down into the ground and just calm things down again for England.
They talk about the records for Harry Kane. Gareth Southgate, the England manager, is closing in on a record. That victory against Australia on Friday was his 27th win at Wembley Stadium, surpassing Walter Winterbottom. Only Sir Alf Ramsey has won more as an England manager. Here is Rashford, left corner of the area, shifts it out onto his right foot, goes for a curling effort but couldn't find the bend. A little bit of movement in the air, but it was always going away from goal. 2 on England, goal kick.
Do you think he just hesitated a little bit there, Deno? Maybe he should have hit it a fraction earlier. He almost doubted his position there, Marcus Rashford. Why? I have no clue, because it's, you know, that favoured position on the left, coming inside. He's so devastating when he does it with real positivity. He shifts it onto his right foot, and he just has a little stutter instead of hitting the ball in his real flow. And whether or not he then tried to curl the ball a little bit, and it just went a little bit wrong, but you never see him hit that ball, and it's a true hit. It's always got a bit of movement in it, which makes it so hard for the goalkeeper.
Mark Gahey's coming on to replace John Stones. That will please Pep Guardiola. He's been eased back in after injury. So Mark Gahey comes on to replace him at the heart of the England defence. And Gahey, really, Gareth Southgate was talking to John Murray yesterday. He's been pushing hard for a regular starting berth, and he's been knocking on the door, and he gets his opportunity for the closing 28 minutes. As now we're going to see a raft of substitutions here for Italy as Udogi comes off, and that is DiMarco who comes on. Scamacca has come off. Also, Moise Keane has come on, and Bastoni has replaced Acerbi. So Moise Keane for Scamacca, DiMarco for Udogi, and Bastoni to replace Acerbi in the defence. The 3 changes being made by Luciano Spalletti.
I think Acerbi started to look a little bit tired. I mean, Harry Kane really has asked a big question of him this evening. The positions that Kane's been taking up and just drawing him deep have been massive.
Foden gliding in on that right touchline. finds Bellingham inside the penalty area, runs back out towards that far side, outside the area. Lovely little skills there from Bellingham as he drags the ball and flicks it back. Guéhi, saw him at Old Trafford recently for Crystal Palace. His distribution this season has been superb for Mark Guéhi, and he now slots in alongside Maguire.
You'd say this is a big indicator that he's next in line, Deno.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that.
You're coming on off the bench with Stones and Maguire having started the game, and you're then picked to go on when Stones is coming off. You know, that's a big suggestion for me that Gareth Southgate sees him as the next in line. If those two aren't fit and available, Guéhi will play, which is a big feather in his cap, isn't it, on how well he's done.
Stoney feeds the ball forward, but running back to help out Kyle Walker was Phil Foden. They do have a very good understanding on that right-hand side, but there's an Italian player who is down. Is that Scalvini? And he's writhing in agony at the moment, and the Italian players have actually surrounded Clément Turpin, the French referee. Scalvini's actually shown a yellow card, so it's not Scalvini who's down. But it was a challenge made by Scalvini on Phillips. It's Barella just caught, stood on the foot, did Calvin Phillips on Barella. Phillips, of course, who was booked in the early game, so that was why the Italian players were surrounding the referee. They were wanting a second yellow card.
No, it's not a second yellow card, it's just a coming together. He does catch Barella's foot, but as he's lunging for the ball.
Remember, England haven't beaten Italy in England since 1977. They're looking for back-to-back wins against the Italians for only the second time. 74 years ago was the only time that it happened, 1948 and 1949. Italy, who are one of a quartet of countries who actually have a better head-to-head record against England. Uruguay, Brazil and Romania are the other three, but England now leading by 2-1. Hungary have got a goal back. Liverpool's Dominic Szoboszlai midway through the second half. Lithuania 2, Hungary 1, as Pickford, all in yellow, away towards our right, clears it away downfield, headed forward by Cristante, brought down there by Calvin Phillips, who pokes the ball back towards Maguire, hits it early. There was no focal point there because Bellingham and Kane had both dropped off, and the two central defenders for Italy able to deal with that.
He's dropped off well in this game though, Harry Kane, isn't he? You know, it's interesting watching him, whether or not his style's changed a little bit since his move to Germany, and he's asked all sorts of questions of the two centre-backs this evening. His positioning tactically and where he goes to receive the ball. Sometimes he goes so far, then I think Acerbi a lot of the time was looking at it thinking, well, can I go with him? Italian defenders love to go all the way in. They want to go tight all the time. It's like it's a trait of how they defend over there and how they get taught. And I just think Kane is a horrible opponent for them to play against if you're gonna want to defend like that.
Jordan Henderson's going to be coming on very soon as Kane tries to walk his way through. Out towards Walker. Interesting to gauge the response for Jordan Henderson after the crowd reaction when he captained England in that friendly against Australia on Friday night. Just having a word with Gareth Southgate as Denmark have taken the lead again against San Marino. 2-1 they now lead in Northern Ireland's group. Certainly there was a lot of support for Harry Maguire earlier on as Foden plays the ball forward towards Bellingham. Back to Foden. Nice interchange, and the shot low left foot is saved by Donnarumma. Superb play again between the two.
Lovely link-up play. Past 3 or 4 Italian players, but it was such a clever piece of play from Phil Foden. Bounces it into Jude Bellingham, just gets his toe to it, then receives the pass back, and a really quick snapshot with his left foot across the guard. Real power on it as well. Just let Donnarumma know he has to be on his toes in that goal because it was just down to his left-hand side and it had a real sting to the strike from Phil Foden.
That's Matthew Upson, former England international. This is BBC Radio 5 Live, and to take you through to full time with England leading by 2-1 is our correspondent John Murray.
Yes, thank you, Ian. Rob Green's with us as well tonight from afar, but we'll hear from him at the end of the match on his thoughts. But England coming forward, leading by 2-1. Rashford running free again, goes through one challenge against Di Lorenzo, but the ball runs square. But Rashford still on the ball, playing it to the right-hand side. Rashford, who's scored the The second goal for England. Rashford into Bellingham on the edge of the box. It bounces away from Foden. England with Walker on the right-hand side. Foden chips it all the way through. Foden just slightly overhit that. So here comes Jordan Henderson. And here's the announcement of Jordan Henderson's name. Everyone can see him there. A number of people are standing up, actually, applauding Phillips, who's had little or no football. And he is on a yellow card, Calvin Phillips, and he applauds around Wembley Stadium. And once he reaches the halfway line, I would say that was a
mixed response.
Yeah,
I would say
there was some booing in there.
Yeah, some booing, but it was a mixed response. I think Calvin Phillips has done pretty well. And I think he'll be glad to get these minutes under his belt against the top team as well.
He will, but I think Gareth Southgate, maybe would have planned to play in the full match, but I think on that yellow card and having put in that challenge on the halfway line a few moments ago on who was it? Barella, wasn't it?
Barella, yeah.
I think he's made that decision, similarly to Spalletti taking off Udogie, who was also on a yellow card and in a little bit of peril of getting a second.
No, it's a sensible decision, and who better to bring on the pitch in this kind of environment at this stage of the game than Jordan Henderson.
That's why he's there. When we talk about it from a footballing point of view, Jordan Henderson, this is his 80th cap tonight. That's a rarefied number as an England international. And as I've been saying this week when we've been speaking about it on 5 Live, I think Gareth Southgate's response the other night when I asked him about Jordan Henderson made it quite clear that if he stays fit, and as long as he keeps the levels, as they keep saying, then the intention is that he's going to be in the England squad when England get to Germany, which they are doing with this scoreline as group winners, and Di Lorenzo can't keep the ball in on the right-hand side, so it's a throw into England.
I mean, from a football perspective, why wouldn't you be planning to take him to a major tournament in the summer? And I agree that the levels are the key, whether or not he can maintain those playing out in the Middle East, but he'll get a good feel of where he's at every time he meets up with England, from the training sessions, from the speed that he's moving and how he's performing in those. He'll take a lot from that and gauge it off of that most of the time, I would say, John, as opposed to performances for his club team.
So it's the second change England have made tonight, leading by 2-1. Marcus Rashford scoring his 17th goal for England. So he's now got as many goals for England as David Beckham did. Italy coming forward, ball played into the penalty area, cleared away by Walker for England, headed forward again. It bounces down actually for Fratesi, who lifts it towards the back post. Keane was after it after it was headed across from the left-hand side by El Shaarawy, but England were able to deal with that. And here is Harry Kane, who scored his 60th goal for England tonight, and Kane is tripped on the halfway line, and that's a free kick to England. Kane, who's just gone down. No, he's okay, he'll be up on his feet, the Bayern Munich man as he is now. So it was a penalty that made it 1-1. And that means that of his 60 goals, 21 of them have been penalties. So over a third of Harry Kane's goals for England have been penalties. In the match of Brentford over in West London, Australia are now 2-0 up on New Zealand. Jackson Irvine has scored after their spirited performance the other evening. 2-1 England lead here. And with the scores elsewhere, Ukraine are winning 2-1. In Malta, having been a goal behind for much of the first half. This result would mean England would go through as group winners with 2 matches to spare. So next month you'll hear England's match here against Malta and the final match against North Macedonia in Skopje on 5 Live. Here is Bellingham, who turns brilliantly and is then bundled over by Cristante. Yet another foul on Bellingham, another free kick for England.
I mean, they're not quite sure how to handle him, are they? Cristante fuming with the referee, saying he's won the ball, but he certainly did trip Jude Bellingham on his way to winning that ball, as Bellingham again was just trying to burst the other side of him. So positive from the England midfield player. Every time he gets the ball, he just rolls his body or receives it on the back foot, and he's just into that space.
It was a cracking second goal by England, as Pickford plays it long through the middle. Donnarumma has come out of his area, heads it very carefully to the substitute Bastoni, the Inter man who came on with his teammate Di Marco, who replaced Udogie at left back. Very clearly stands out with his bleached blonde hair on the far side DiMarco, two excellent fullbacks, Di Lorenzo and DiMarco. But England, who found themselves a goal down after Scamacca scored on the quarter hour, now lead 2-1 as Moise Keane dummies it, but Trippier was there and able to give it back to Pickford, who slips over as he clears it towards the halfway line. Scalvini is caught in possession, but it bounces for Bastoni, who will give it out towards the left-hand side. So, the second goal for England, brilliant, from back to front. It was an outstanding counter-attacking goal, but the work that Foden did on the edge of his own area, played it forward to Bellingham, who was a strong second favourite to get to the ball, but somehow managed to scoop it forward and then take the ball away over the halfway line, deliver it to Rashford, who just left defenders sort of falling in his wake as he thrashed it in from 15 yards.
I mean, but when you Phil Foden and that ball pops out to you, because it wasn't under England's control, the ball, it was loose, and it dropped into Phil Foden on the edge of his own 18-yard box, or shall we say 25 yards out. He knows that he's got a player there in Bellingham, that he can just flip that ball round the corner into space, and he's got the ability and the legs to be able to open them up and go and win that ball, get a toe on it, nudge it past the defender. Even if you're committing somebody to win a foul, John, anything can happen, and the England players know that. He's sitting there with the number 10 on the back of his shirt in that area of the pitch. Is such a threat, such an attacking threat for England.
That's Matt Upson with us on 5 Live, BBC Sounds. Long pass downfield, but that's beyond Bellingham. Bounces through to that huge man in red. Looks like a pillar box. Donnarumma comes out, collects the ball and underarms it towards the halfway line. And Di Lorenzo working on the right flank here with Berardi, that England have won possession back. And listen, Spalletti's Italy asked questions of England tonight, taking the lead in the way that they did. And, I felt that there was an unease in the crowd, that England weren't being positive enough. But the big stars, the big names, have delivered for England. Here's Henderson playing the ball back towards the edge of the 6-yard box. The other player as well that's worth mentioning is Phil Foden, who, this England team, he's come in to replace the injured Bukayo Saka. So he's playing for a place in the England starting lineup, as Kane now wins it on the halfway line and then beats Bastoni, and Kane's into the area one-on-one. 3-1 from the right foot of Harry Kane, and with the England flags flying behind the goal, Harry Kane runs off to celebrate. And England now, with this win against the European champions Italy here at Wembley, England are bang and right on course for Germany with this performance as group winners. 3-1 on the night, and Harry Kane scores for the second time in the match, and now no England international has scored as many goals here at Wembley than Harry Kane. England 3, Italy 1.
Well, there's just been a real physical element to Harry Kane's game this evening. It's Scalvini, the covering defender, who just completely misjudges the bounce of the ball. He comes across and commits and doesn't get there. And once Harry Kane is the wrong side of Bastoni, he gets his arm out and he says, "You stay there. You're not going to reel me back in. I'm going to get through one-on-one." He shifts the ball onto his right foot. I mean, technically, John, in terms of one-on-one finishing, that is absolute world class, because he set himself up superbly that he could go either way. The angle of approach to Donnarumma was so good that the finish then was simple, just to slip it past him. Really good technical centre-forward play from the aspect of he was through on goal, nobody was going to reel him back in, and he sets himself superbly with a lovely finish into the back of the net.
And for the young central defender, the Atalanta central defender, Giorgio Scalvini, who, the experts say will go on to do great things, that's a lesson for him. Beaten by Kane on the halfway line.
It is.
Matt, as a central defender.
Yeah, it's one of those moments. He knew once he'd done it, the ball went in the back of the net. He was really frustrated with himself. I mean, Bastoni didn't get enough on the header to begin with. The ball kind of goes up in the air. Neither one of them really deal with it. But if you're coming across from the right-hand side to the left and that ball's bouncing, you have to get there. There's no, I'm just maybe not going to get there and run past the ball. He doesn't touch the ball at all, and the rest is history. Harry Kane, you cannot give him that kind of opportunity. He will take that with open arms.
Mitrovic has scored again for Serbia. Serbia now 2-1 up on Montenegro. Serbia, who will actually go to the top of that group potential, or certainly level on points with Hungary, who are losing against Lithuania tonight. We've got just over 10 minutes to play. England 3, Italy 1. So again, for the record, that is now 24 goals for Harry Kane here at Wembley Stadium, which surpasses Bobby Charlton, the previous record holder for the most goals scored here at Wembley by an England international.
And it's not a penalty.
And it wasn't a penalty, no. So that is now 21 penalties in 61.
Does that count as a bit better than John?
Better. They all count.
They all count.
So 3-1 it is, and England are on course as well to win home and away in this group against Italy, European champions. Be the first defeat since Spalletti took over from Roberto Mancini, who upped sticks rather for Saudi Arabia during the summer, as Italy try to do something about this through the middle, but England are there in numbers. And Kane, who's now on a hat-trick again for England, does well centrally. Bellingham strongly challenged by Fratesi, but that was not a foul. It was a good challenge by Fratesi.
That's what I mean about Harry Kane's physicality then, again, John. You know, he's getting the ball and he's just bound, he's using his body and his arm and almost like his forearm and his elbow so much to hold players off.
Di Lorenzo crossing, but it bounces via a deflection behind Keane. And Marcus Rashford can turn it away towards the halfway line.
It looks something a little bit different that he's doing with his game. I mean, I might be wrong if I can look back and think of the amount of times Harry Kane's done that, but he just seems to be a little bit more confident with his physicality and using his body to win balls. I mean, he's been really aggressive in that sense, and he certainly was when he took that chance 1v1 there.
10 minutes to go, just under. Serbia now 3-1 up on Montenegro. Dusan Tadic has scored the latest goal for Serbia. But the Wembley crowd here, particularly there to our left, where the strongest, the England supporters who travel regularly, the England Travel Club, many of them are in that part of the ground. A good buzz going around the stadium. From 1-0 down, winning 3-1 against Italy. You know, in some ways a revitalised Italy under a new manager. He has Keane on the right-hand side. Keane trying to take it towards the dead ball line, gets it low into the near post, where Pickford actually just didn't take it cleanly, but then fell on it and was able to claim it into his chest. I think an interesting one from an Italy point of view is that they now go down to third place in the group with 2 matches to play after this, because Ukraine winning against Malta will go up into second. But what's intriguing about it is that Italy's next match is against their nemesis, North Macedonia. Although that is in Rome. North Macedonia, of course, always have to be referred to as the team that knocked Italy out of the last World Cup in the playoffs. But I think revenge might be in the air. But there'll be some nervousness amongst our Italian colleagues. And Hungary have come back from 2-0 down to make it 2-2. So Lithuania 2, Hungary 2. And if Hungary can win that tonight, that would be Hungary qualified. So from 2-0 down, Hungary make it 2-2.
It's not
Nodge. It's not Nodge. Solai,
heading one into the back post.
Or Soboslai. It's Barnabas Varga who's scored.
Okay.
Italy, England are going to make another change. Jack Grealish is going to come on. Raspadori, incidentally, came on for... who did he come on for? Berardi. Yeah, so Raspadori, who scored the winner against England in one of these recent games when we were in the San Siro. Excellent finish it was. Raspadori, another of the Napoli men. So he's on, but it just feels like it's a losing cause for Italy now. England have had too much for them.
I mean, I tallied up the caps for both teams before the game, and it does feel like that's probably weighed into the result at the moment, hasn't it? Just key moments in the game, how England have capitalised on them and been very solid in defence and controlled, and Italy have just maybe not had the same levels.
It is Italy in possession of... That's a wasted pass from Bastoni. It bounces straight out of play. And it's a throw-in. I think we'll see the change now with Jack Grealish waiting to come onto the field. And we started the match against Australia, but in that unfamiliar team, inexperienced international team. Before Grealish comes on, the crowd figure is a little bigger than it was against Australia on Friday night, 83,194. And that is it for Jude Bellingham here tonight, who has again been absolutely pivotal for Gareth Southgate's England team.
He's been at the heart of everything, causing havoc, really stretching that Italian midfield, asking questions time and time again, and no wonder the Wembley crowd are on their feet just applauding him off the pitch.
Gareth Southgate comes forward, Bellingham clasps hands with Grealish, who comes on to replace him, and Gareth Southgate gives him a hug. And it does feel that this is a young man, the youngest man in this squad, still just 20 years old. The goals he scored for Real Madrid this season, 10 goals in 10 appearances. Feels like he's got the world at his feet. And England coming forward, sweeping forward. Kane, crossfield pass. Grealish has to move to his left. And so Italy are back in position, but the white shirts of England continue to pour forward. Trippier down the left-hand side, but Grealish still in possession, gives it to Trippier. First time touch from him. Back to Declan Rice. And then Trippier again. Little ball infield towards Foden, the all-action Foden. Back into the centre circle for Mark Gay. And actually England forced all the way back into their own half, and Kyle Walker, in the end it goes all the way back to goalkeeper Pickford. It is still 3-1 to France in the friendly international, which is being played in Lille tonight. So France 3, Scotland 1, and Northern Ireland still 1-0 down at home to Slovenia, which is doing damage to the possibility that Northern Ireland might get a playoff place for a place in the Euros once the qualification finishes. Remember, the top two in every group qualify automatically, but then there are playoffs after that. England 3, Italy 1. We'll have all of the reaction on the 5 Live Football Daily, which can be downloaded for free as ever. So Gareth Southgate, no doubt, a number of England players will be speaking to us after this. Once England have clinched qualification for the Euros, which it seems they will with this scoreline. So we'll see if we can get anything for you on air before 10 o'clock. But then Colin Murray will be taking over with the developing story that there is in the Middle East tonight, the latest sad chapter in those terrible events. So more on that with Colin Murray from 10 o'clock here on 5 Live. Here is Declan Rice. Italy going to make another change, but Rice gives it forward towards Foden, and Grealish now is challenged by Di Lorenzo, and the ball bounces away, but that's been given as a free kick for his challenge on Grealish. Free kick England.
Yeah, Di Lorenzo just coming through the back of Jack Grealish, catches him before he wins the ball, and rightly so the referee gives the foul, and England just in full control of this game now, looking very comfortable. 4 minutes left on the clock till we get to 90, and completely in control and very comfortable at the moment.
Riccardo Orsolini of Bologna is coming on for his 5th cap to replace the Roma man Al Sharawi. England take the free kick, but then Grealish is challenged again and bundled off the pitch by Cristante, but he took the ball, so it's a throw in to England, and Trippier turns and takes the throw back into his own half. So 3-1 England lead. England, who are unbeaten since the loss to France in the World Cup quarter-final, Harry Kane's missed penalty and all of that. And England with possession at the back. Gay turning it back to Pickford, and then Pickford has a look on his left foot, then back onto his right, but then uses his left to pass it forward to Foden, who's moved into a more central position since Grealish has come onto the field. So Rashford has gone out to the right-hand side, Grealish on the left, and Foden more centrally.
Just like to have seen Harry Maguire just ping that ball into Jack Grealish there first time, just fire it into him and see if he can get hold of it and just be a little bit more adventurous with his pass. And he's had a very solid game, Harry Maguire, and I think he can really start to just be a little bit more adventurous, step in with the ball and just play those forward passes, certainly into the wide areas, a little bit more often.
In the other match in this group now, Malta 1, Ukraine 3. Mikhailo Mudryk of Chelsea with the third goal for Ukraine. England now just really seeing this game out. That's what we're watching here, trying to manage it, control it. Although Henderson actually hits a pacey pass out towards Rashford on the right-hand side, and then Rashford turns and gives it back halfway inside his own half. Did speak to Gareth Southgate about Rashford yesterday, but he said, for England, he said, he's done all the things that we want him to do, and he certainly did that in the scoring of the crucial second goal, which took England in front. And here he is now again on the right-hand side, running at DiMarco, and then the ball in field. Foden, I don't think will get there. No, he won't. Italy are able to tidy up on the edge of their own box. It's stabbed out towards the left-hand side, where DiMarco plays it to Kane, that England players either side of him in the end, though he is able to win a throw-in there. So we're in the 90th minute now at Wembley. I can see a number of people around the stands beginning to head towards the exits. Never the easiest to get away from Wembley Stadium. In fact, hundreds, thousands probably of empty red seats appearing. They've seen what they wanted to see. Yeah. They've seen England turn this around, but the majority are staying to congratulate England on seeing qualification through with 2 matches to spare. That's not bad, is it? As the ball is played back to Donnarumma on the far side of his penalty area, and he has to pass it carefully out to Bastoni. And Italy, rather precariously, are able to get it away. DiMarco does well, though, making ground up the left-hand side. Raspadori with a crossfield pass now to Orsolini. Orsolini against Trippier, cuts in field. He's on his left foot. He's trying to find a position. Gives it to Keane. Right foot shot, but it's straight at Pickford from just outside the D. And the England goalkeeper gathers it into his chest.
Yeah, nearly just caught Pickford out a little bit, that shot from Keane. Kind of dives onto the ball and now laying flat on the ground, but it just didn't move as far as what he thought. He shifted his feet to the left-hand side, thinking it was going to go in the corner. It was a little bit more central as the ball just curved back in towards the middle of the goal, but very solid handling from England's number one.
So 3-1, England continue to lead. This will be 3 minutes of added time we're into. Foden chasing the ball down the left-hand side, but it bounces back to Donnarumma. And DiMarco out there on the left-hand side, up towards Keane, and then Keane back towards the edge of his penalty area.
They've got good full-back options, John, haven't they, Italy? It's one thing you will say, they've got some strength in that area of the pitch. DiMarco, Di Lorenzo, Udogi. I really do like the full-back. I think they focus a lot of their game on the ability of those players to go forward. It's a real attacking threat for them.
It'll be interesting to see where Italy are by the time the finals come round. Although, of course, they'll have to qualify first.
Because you're also looking at the fact that they've had such solid centre-back partnerships, haven't they, over the years. And
Trippier was just sent flying by Orsolini there, and his leg flew out at a rather awkward angle. And he's just stayed down, Trippier. He's on his knees, leaning forward. I think he's okay. But, anxious for Newcastle with all of the... Yep, he's okay. He's back on his feet, and he just claps hands with Orsolini.
Yeah,
sorry, carry on.
He's hobbling off, isn't he? No, for me, it's developing their next centre-back partnership, John, is going to be key for Italy, because they've had a couple of real outstanding centre-backs for a decade or so, and now they've got to find that pairing that's going to have the stability for their full-backs to get forward and play that kind of counter-attacking or high-speed attacking football.
We've not had the chance, have we, to see Federico Gatti tonight, who's on the bench, the former bricklayer, who we always enjoy watching, don't we? Here's Keane into the edge of the area, shoots, and it actually hits Gay, who threw himself in front of it. I think it might have hit him on the side of the head and bounces away.
Brilliant block, really good block from Guerre. Read the line of the ball and just took that flush in the chest.
He's laughing about it. Throw-in is taken. Keane on the left-hand side, the former Everton man, drives it across into the box. Raspadori trying to find a position, but it bounces down and England can clear it away. So England on the way to victory. Northern Ireland, have they been? In fact, here's Kane. Kane onto the ball, 10 yards inside the Italy half, turns it back. Couldn't find Foden, although Foden's won it against Cristante. And England now have 4 against 3. Foden to Kane on the right, and then Kane's ball across, it's blocked, back to Kane again in the Italian left-back position. The referee says that is it. The final whistle goes here. Wembley rises to its feet, and England have beaten Italy by 3-1, and that completes home and away wins against the European champions, the reigning champions in this group, and it means that England will be in Germany next summer. That is qualification done for Gareth Southgate and his team, and they'll go as group winners too. A job well done tonight, Matt Upson, from 1-0 down.
Yeah, absolutely. Really patient, calm, professional job that we've seen from England. Gareth Southgate will be really happy with the second half performance. There was a lot of control and a couple of moments that were really high octane. The goal from Marcus Rashford and the breakaway was absolutely top class. And from then on in, I mean, it only looked like England's game, and they'll be really pleased with that second half performance.
Well, it's not exactly bouncing, Wembley Stadium. I mean, qualification has become quite straightforward for England in recent years. But I think to record 2 wins against this Italian team, any Italian team, first time England have beaten Italy here at Wembley since 1977. That is an achievement, and the players are congratulating one another. The England players going round, hugs between them on the pitch. And there we are, qualification is done with 2 matches to spare. Well done, England. Well done, Gareth Southgate and his team. 3-1 winners against Italy here at Wembley tonight. And Kelly Cates is with us here inside the commentary box.
Thank you, John. More from John Murray, Ian Dennis, Matthew Upson and Rob Green very shortly, but we can get the full-time result now between Northern Ireland and Slovenia with John Southall.
It's finished Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1, Kelly. So another defeat for Northern Ireland. Actually, they were better against 10 men in the second half. Cherin's goal, though, after 5 minutes proved enough. Shay Charles sent off just before the hour. 2 yellow cards equals a red. The task then became harder. George Saville had 2 good chances in the second half for Northern Ireland, both saved by Oblak. Big win this, though, for Slovenia, who have all but qualified. Northern Ireland, 6 defeats from 8 in the group. Northern Ireland 0, Slovenia 1.
At Wembley, it's finished England 3, Italy 1. Gareth Southgate's side have booked their place at Euro 2024. We'll bring your reaction right up to 10 o'clock when Colin Murray will take over. And with our football correspondent John Murray, senior football reporter Ian Dennis, former England defender Matt Upson's here at Wembley, former England goalkeeper Rob Green is also with us, Italian football journalist and EuroLeague's regular James Horncastle will be along very shortly. But Deno, big 3 points for England. It sends them to Germany. How did they do it?
Well, good times have never seemed so good is the tune here at Wembley, and England have qualified for the Euros. It's an 8th successive major tournament, continuation of their best ever run, and a statement win, Kelly, as well. Their first back-to-back wins against Italy in 74 years. They came from behind, they had control, they possessed a clinical edge, and they also possess a superstar in Jude Bellingham, who was so influential. Scamacca gave Italy the lead. However, England, though, levelled through a penalty. Bellingham was fouled by Di Lorenzo. Harry Kane emphatically equalising just past the half hour. And then great work by Phil Foden, who had another terrific game, edge of the area, found Bellingham, lifted the ball over Scalvini, took him out of the game, and then Rashford buried the ball, England leading by 2-1, and then another terrific goal from Harry Kane to seal the win. 13 minutes from time, and Harry Kane scoring now more goals than any other England player here at Wembley. So a terrific night for Gareth Southgate to achieve their objective of qualifying for the finals in Germany next summer.
And Matt, we will talk about Harry Kane on reaching yet another milestone for England. But overall, this performance for England was one where they could test themselves against serious opposition. And yes, for various reasons, this is not an Italy team at full strength. It is an Italy team in transition. But how did England acquit themselves against them?
I thought they were very patient. And they had to be, because they didn't quite know what they were facing in that first half. They started the game in a controlled manner, got hit with a bit of sucker punch and a really nice sharp piece of counter-attacking play from Italy, which stunned England a little bit and the crowd, and then just worked their way back into the game. They know what they're good at, England, now. They know what players they have. They know the key aspects of what they have in the team, and if they just keep getting the ball into those areas, something will happen. And that's how the game went for me. Bellingham had the opportunity, got it out to Rashford 3, 4, 5, 6 occasions where he can run at players onto his right foot, and lo and behold, that's where the goals come from. So I thought it was a really positive night all round, and the players should be really pleased with themselves.
Yeah, another brilliant performance from Jude Bellingham, as you said. His last 10 games, 7 goals and 4 assists. Dan on social media said class finish from Rashford, but Jude is simply world class. I've run out of superlatives for them. But also, we've had lots on Harry Kane, of course. Aaron says best striker in the world right now, no doubt. Gary Lineker has been tweeting his congratulations for equalling that record by Bobby Charlton and for also reaching 61 England goals. And in terms of performances, Rob, there were a couple of individuals that stood out, Harry Kane being one of them.
Yep, it seemed like he got stronger as the game went on, as did England. I think he drifted and he showed what he can do, and he adds that dimension to England whilst not being spectacular at times. It just adds another dimension to the England performance where they go, well, he can drop and he can hit those passes as well. So it was a really solid performance from him. I thought the moment he waited for was the goal, and he just bided his time, and once that opportunity was presented to him by the Italian defence, it was a couple of mistakes in there, as Matt was saying, that there was only one answer. There was only one outcome once he got through on goal, and it's his clinical best tonight.
Rob, I'm just watching Jude Bellingham get his Player of the Match award for England, and you know, as much as this is about Harry Kane, about his consistency, about his longevity, Jude Bellingham right at the start of his England career is putting in such mature, developed, confidence performances.
He's just better than everyone else, and he knows it. He just thinks, I'll tell you what, I can run this, and he can. There was one moment before they scored the second goal, which he helped create, but he just turned and he looked to see where the Italian midfield was, and they were about a yard out of position. That was it, and he went, right, there's the space, and he went and he beat the whole midfield with one move, and he won a free kick. And he is one of the few players in the world who can do that, who can get the power, the drive, and that's what he provided for that second goal. And he didn't just stand and watch. He made a run after giving it. It went to Rashford, dragged the defence, bought him that space, and it was just an all-round performance in there which was fantastic.
Matt, it feels like every game that Jude Bellingham plays, we're looking for new superlatives, so it's slightly unfair to ask you about him second, and ask you to add something new about Jude Bellingham.
Well, thanks, Kelly. I think he has swagger, and I say that in a way that if you're a young player and you want to know what arrogance is, but in a positive way, watch Jude Bellingham. Because he steps on the grass and his body language right from the off, the warm-up, you watch him warm up, he has a body language about him as a positivity and a confidence that is just oozing out of every pore. Why not? Look at what he's doing in world football. It's amazing. But he's also very humble with it in terms of how he carries himself. So he's got a lovely balance in that sense. And that for me is a biggest compliment to him. Forget what he's doing on the pitch. As a person, how he's carrying himself in an England shirt and a Real Madrid one at the moment is world class. And I think you can go that far to say that he's that good and that important at the moment.
Yeah, they're playing Fleetwood Mac everywhere at the moment, which I think is Jude Bellingham's position as far as everybody's concerned here at Wembley this evening. Look, we talked beforehand about the selection of Maguire and Stones at centre half, but Mark Gay came on towards the end of that game. Matt, do you think that he's the next one in line should Stones or Maguire not be available?
Yes, I think that indicates it. You're coming on against Italy at home. It's the last 20 minutes of the game. You're next in line. And I think that's a little indicator for him. Whether or not he's been told or not, I don't know. But you pick up, I've been in that position, and you pick up on those little indicators and you think, right, I'm on. Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, OK, I'm next. And I know that. And then when I'm not on the pitch, then I'm going to be disappointed. So he's worked himself into a position where Stones and Maguire aren't fit and he's not playing. He should feel disappointed because I think he's in that number 3 spot.
They've been monitoring the fitness of John Stones coming into this game, and I think that's why you saw Duncan Tamori tried out in the friendly against Australia,
right?
And Gahey not touched there. He's left alone just in case Stones couldn't make it. So again, I think that is another further indication of where he is in the pecking order regarding the central defenders.
Rob?
Yeah, just a special mention to him that actually before Harry Kane's second goal, Jordan Pickford fired a ball at him from about 10 yards away, and about waist high, and his touch was perfect. He was under pressure. He looked up and played the ball into Harry Kane. I thought, wow, that's confidence. That you're turning around, you're coming on. he's a premeditated substitution. He knew he was coming on, so his nerves would have been there. But to have the confidence on the ball to do that was brilliant, and he added to the win.
He looked like the kind of pass you fired me a couple of times, Greeny, to be fair.
It was only in
I didn't deal
return.
with it as well,
I didn't
though.
want it. I didn't want it, and nor did you.
Deno, so Euro 2024 is on the cards now for England. They are off to Germany, as the fans were singing. 2 games left to play. They go through as group winners. That affects the seeding, and they've put in a good performance against one of the strongest oppositions now that they're going to face before the competition gets underway.
Yeah, I think Gareth Southgate will be absolutely delighted with the manner of the performance, and as you say now, the fact that they are group winners, and it was a tough group. I mean, here we've got Italy as the current European champions. We know about their failings at recent World Cups, but they're now struggling to qualify for the tournament in Germany. And as you say, Kelly, the fact that they're going to go through now as group winners means that they'll be in amongst the top seeds for the draw in Hamburg on the 2nd of December.
And talking of Italy, James Horncastle joins us to discuss their performance. James, before the game, you were saying this is a much changed Italy side from the one that won the European Championships. Yeah, there are players absent for various reasons. It's also a team under new management as well. How do you think they acquitted themselves?
I think they rode out the storm in the first 10 or 15 minutes. They picked their moments in the first half. I think they went in at the interval with some positives, notably the goal from Scamacca. His first for the country, which I think hinted at a post kind of Ciro Immobile future for Italy. But it was against the run of play, and Spalletti just talking now on Rai, Italian State TV, has been talking about the physicality that England had, their ability to catch Italy by surprise, counter on them more than he would have liked. And we've seen with Spalletti sides in the past, particularly his most recent Napoli team, they're a team that likes to have a grip on the game, like to play a possession game. They weren't really able to do that tonight, and puts them in a really difficult position, even though they were guaranteed a playoff spot by virtue of being in the final four of the Nations League. Going into these November internationals, the game against Ukraine in Leverkusen becomes a playoff to avoid a playoff. And as you were just saying now, Italy do not have a good record in playoffs. They lost to Sweden, which meant they didn't go to the World Cup in 2018, and they lost to North Macedonia, which meant they didn't go to the World Cup in Qatar.
Is there an understanding in Italy that this is a team that's in transition, that this is a team in a period of change, or is there a degree of impatience about wanting to get that transition over and done with and start on that upward curve again?
I think it's really jarring, Kelly, that they are still trying to understand how this team didn't go to the last World Cup, because that came so soon after winning the Euros. Remember, the Euros was postponed a year because of COVID. They played it a year later. They then go straight into World Cup qualifying, and not qualifying happened whilst they were still kind of partying from the Euros. And so, yes, some pillars of this national team over the last decade have retired. There are players who've come obviously to play in the Premier League. You think of Scamacca, for example, had a year at West Ham, did okay in the Conference League, but returned to sender. He's back in Italy. Same with Moise Kean, who came on tonight, played a bit for Everton, returned to sender. He's back at Juventus, who are not even playing in the Champions League. So there is a level of realism within Italy at the moment, and they accept that this is where they are right now.
You talk about pillars, James. I mean, you lose Chiellini, Bonucci. I mean, big players. And I like the fullback position is strong for Italy. I think you've got some good attacking options, some exciting young fullback in Udogie as well. I thought did really well tonight. Is their biggest challenge getting a centre-back partnership that can deal with that? Because I looked at once Acerbi had gone off and you had Bastoni and Scavini on. Harry Kane just looked like he had too much for them. And there's not many Italian centre-backs that you can say, probably ask Harry Kane that he's felt comfortable playing against, because that is such a strong trait of Italian defending. Yeah.
I mean, the back three that Italy had for a long, long time was Bonucci, Chiellini and Barzagli, or whoever filled in for Barzagli. And that just gives you an incredibly solid foundation. And look, I mean, the Inter team that reached the Champions League final last year had a back three full of Italians, Acerbi, Bastoni and Darmian. You can say that maybe they're not at the level of that Bonucci-Chiellini generation, but I think that the thing that surprised me tonight was how many changes Spalletti made, and he's changed his centre-back partnership in every game that he's had so far. Okay, it's only the fourth game, but you'll know better than me, Matt. I mean, if you're changing centre-back, and even if the centre-backs you're changing are changing partner every game, it's difficult to find your understanding and your reference points.
James, what if Italy don't qualify? Because as you said, they've got a tough road ahead. They're in third place. They're 3 points behind Ukraine. They've got the game against North Macedonia to come, but then that crunch game against Ukraine. What if they don't qualify for the Euros?
Well, I did think about this, Kelly, in August when Spalletti took the job. I did think, why would he take it? And of course, your country is calling you. It is a huge honour. But he's been thrown in at the deep end, really. And I think there was a feeling, just being around the national team since they failed to reach the World Cup, that Mancini, I'm not going to say his heart was never in it, but you could tell it really pained him not going to the World Cup. And, it doesn't matter what you've done before becoming Italy coach. Spalletti has done a miracle in winning the league with Napoli for the first time since 1990. You are judged on what you do with the national team. It does ultimately colour how your career is judged, and so I'm sure he'll be given some grace if they do not qualify. But it's something that you'll find very hard to live down.
James, lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much for coming in to speak to us. England then are through to Euro 2024. They're heading off to Germany. Scotland also through, despite defeat in that friendly by France. They'd already qualified for the tournament. Then Wales are second in their group as well, and this is looking good for home representation. Northern Ireland with another defeat and weren't going to finish in the top two, but now the playoffs looking more difficult for them. But generally speaking, good representation for the home nations.
Very much so. I mean, Steve Clarke has done a terrific job for Scotland, and in many ways what Gareth Southgate has done in terms of the culture and the environment that he's created over time, I think has been replicated the same with Scotland. They've got that togetherness, that team spirit, and we've seen that in the results that they've shown, obviously with the quality, getting the best out of players like McGinn. Gilmore's a super player in the midfield. McTominay's obviously popped up with a number of goals. And Wales, Rob Page has been a manager under pressure, and to get a terrific result against Croatia, they've got now two tricky matches. They've got to go to Armenia away and then at home to Turkey, but their destiny's in their own hands, and I'm sure that Rob Page would have taken that at the start of the qualifying campaign.
England, Matt, were hoping to go one better in this tournament than they did last time around when they were beaten by Italy in the final on penalties. Do they look like a team that are capable of progressing? Look, nobody knows. There are all kinds of, ifs and buts when you get into tournament football. But do they look like a team who are capable of winning the next European Championships? Do you know what? You've been saved, because Harry Kane is waiting to talk to John Murray.
We're live in the tunnel at Wembley Stadium. It's a buoyant place, with England having just clinched their place at the Euros next summer, and standing in front of me is the England captain, Harry Kane. That's a great way to do it, Harry, with a win against the defending champions like that.
Absolutely. I feel like sometimes we've made qualifying look easy, and credit to the boys, because it's not. We've had one of the toughest groups you've seen over recent years. Some big nations not going to major tournaments, so to do it with 2 games to spare just shows the path we're on, and we can enjoy it. It was a really good performance from everyone. Even when we went 1-0 down, there was no panic. We stayed calm. We carried on doing what we've done the whole campaign, and obviously got the rewards in the second half.
Yeah, questions were asked, weren't they, the way that Italy took the lead tonight. But, I don't know how many times over the years I've talked to you about records, but to be the man who scored more goals in this stadium as an England international, going past Bobby Charlton, you've got another one.
Yeah, no, I love playing here at Wembley. I love playing for England, full stop, but to do it here at home, this is always something special, to perform in front of our fans, to wear the badge, to lead the boys out, and of course to score as well is one of the best feelings ever. So look, you know what I'm like. I enjoy the records, but we just go on to the next one and see how far we can go. This group's just got to keep pushing, pushing each other to standards. We're getting more and more experience in major tournaments, so hopefully come next summer we can put in a real good performance.
Yeah, and not just in the group winning against Italy tonight, winning home and away against Italy in this group. And I know Gareth Southgate talks about milestone wins like that and what it does for the collective.
Yeah, I think so. It's probably what we've been missing, over the last few years, is beating big nations on a consistent basis. So to beat Italy away was one thing, but then to back it up here with the performance as well. It was 3-1. It was comfortable for us, and I think we showed a real maturity out there. So, but look, we won't get carried away. We'll enjoy the next camp, 2 more games to spend together, to work together. And then these tournaments come around quick. Before we know it, we'll be in March, and then obviously leading up to the Euro. So I'm just extremely happy we've done it here at Wembley, and yeah, we can just enjoy the next camp now.
Well done, Harry Kane, talking to us on the night he scored 2 goals for England and qualified the team for the finals. And I think we might just have a chance for a quick word with Phil Foden as well. Congratulations, Phil. Job well done tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant performance. I thought our defensive work was really good tonight. When you come up the likes of Italy, you've got to defend sometimes because they have the great quality. And I thought we've shown that throughout the game, not just attacking but the defending side as well. So yeah, delighted with the result, and that's where we want to be, beating these big teams. So yeah, really happy.
And tell us what it was like being involved in that second goal. You were at the heart of the start of that, weren't you?
Yeah, we looked very dangerous on the counter, and I thought we could have done that a little bit more in the first half. We had a few counters, and I thought we looked dangerous. So yeah, I managed to find Jude, and yeah, Jude did superb, and then finished off lovely. So yeah, great team goal, and just enjoying putting the England shirt on and playing with great players, and yeah, just enjoying my football.
And I would ask you as well, you've come in the position tonight that Bukayo Saka's in. He's going to be a hard man to get past, isn't he, into the starting lineup for England?
Yeah, 100%. Bukayo's a quality player. Every time he puts the England shirt, he's at least 7 out of 10 every time. So he's a fantastic player. And yeah, it's exciting because we've still got big players to come back and help us as well. So it just shows the depth of the squad. Yeah, and like you said, if I'm not starting, I want to come on and try and change the game. So I'm here to help the team as best as I can.
Great feeling though, isn't it? To get yourselves into the final, 2 matches to spare as well. These are great times, aren't they?
Definitely great times for England. We've reached a final now, and we want to keep doing that. We've had the taste for it, and yeah, like I said, we want to be in the big games and the big occasions. We've got experience on the pitch to do that. So yeah, enjoying it.
Phil Foden, thank you very much. Kelly Cates,
and
back to you.
Thank you very much to John Murray asking the questions there. So England through to Germany in 2024, as are Scotland. Wales are second in their group. It's looking promising for those sides. It's also worth bringing you one of the loveliest stories of the evening. San Marino haven't scored a goal in almost a year. They were 1-0 down against Denmark. They got the equaliser, at which point the substitutes legged it onto the pitch, absolutely surrounded the goal scorer. And the San Marino official Twitter account has said, "Goal from San Marino," all in caps. "I swear to you, it's not a dream. What we are living is totally real. It was scored by Golanucci, our new hero. We score a goal against Denmark. I can't believe it. I'm going to cry. Revived football. I love you, San Marino of my life." And on a day when there's a lot of difficult and dark news around, worth reminding ourselves of the small moments of joy that football can bring. They did end up losing that game by 2-1. We'll have more England reaction in the Football Daily podcast. We'll also look at Serena Wiegman's squad selection for the Nations League, and we'll preview Manchester United's women in the Champions League. That's going to be available to download later via BBC Sounds. But up next, it's Colin Murray with all the latest developments from Gaza after hundreds were killed in a strike on a hospital in Gaza City. That's after the BBC News with Lisa McCormick.
Listen.